this a successful start to the stream? I think it is. I think I've just done everything correctly. Oh no, there's a wee bit of, I guess, not quite perfect, right? But maybe the next time that I start my stream, maybe I'll hit all the talking points and do everything all perfect. And at least my camera's working today. My camera is working today. That's quite cool, isn't it? Eh? Nearly did it. There's always tomorrow. Well, there isn't tomorrow actually, because I might have a day job shift tomorrow, so I'll tell you all about that. I'm waiting to hear back. Phone's plugged in. We're all good. Hello folks, how you doing? Welcome to twitch.tv/1030. I'm 1030 and you are Twitch. If you like the background music, it's made by my mate Paul, quiet and peaceful man, and he, the SoundCloud links happen to currently be in chat. I'll start at the top, but before I do, can I just say, if you've got any good news, big or small, right, anything at all that in any way constitutes as good news, I'd like to hear what it is, because the world's filled with bad news, and here, do you know what I mean? You've been here before, you know what the script is, so feel free to share any good news. I'll read it out, and then that might prompt a really healthy discussion about whatever it is that you're talking about. I would like to know what's going on in the world. Hello everybody. Hello Avgas. Hello Bromo69. Hello Funkyman316. Off-world. Oh, used to be off-world objects, I think. Oh, aye, and the bubbles are active. That's good, the bubbles are active. Is this active? Frosty, how you doing, Frosty? Thank you very much for your Amazon Prime subscription. I love Amazon Prime subscriptions, Frosty. Welcome in, how's it going? Hello, Exeldro. How you doing? The legend himself, Exeldro, is in. What's even happening? Good news, 10:30 is live. I am. Hiya. So, as I said, I might not be live tomorrow because I might have a rare day job shift, but we'll see how it goes. This time last week, I thought that my next day job shift would be in October. So I was a wee bit worried about that, because money, right? But it looks like somebody's ill or something like that, so I've been asked to go in tomorrow, but unconfirmed fully, so we'll see what the deal is. Are you all doing good? Welcome in. What's happening? Did you see Cudder's stream last night? I was on stream with Cudder playing Peak. I was on with Ad, so good, they named him thrice. And Lama-chan and Cudder, and it was wonderful. Did anybody see that? You should have got a notification telling you about it, because we did the very special stream times. Stream together, squad stream, whatever it's called. And so you should have got a notification. But I really, what is it Scottish people say? Thoroughly enjoyed myself. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Hold on, you might hear me in just a wee second. I'm trying to get my cool two-person Twitch chat view. So if I do this, chat. I've got a problem with, I'm using the Zen browser. So if I do this, it's asking me to log in. I'm using the Zen browser, and there's a problem with the Zen browser, is that it just keeps logging me out every time I close and reopen my computer, and it's very annoying. Logs me out of everything. So I think I might just switch back to Chrome or something, but I really want to like this Zen browser, because it allows me to do like quite a cool looking full screen version of like an operating system. There's B. Dolan's Twitch chat. Well, that's just his chat for some reason. You know what I mean? So you can like scroll websites and stuff full screen. So I really want to like it, but it seems to just log me out. Logged out of that as well. Logged out of everything every time, and all the cookies get reset and stuff. So I would quite like for that to be a thing, but it seems to not be a thing. There's been a big news story recently, past couple of days, that I have intentionally not spoke about, because it looked like people speaking about it were all misinformed, and it was a topic that rustles people's jimmies, basically. And it's an international story about a wee girl who just lives a couple hours drive from me here in Scotland, who was videoed a few days ago with a machete and a hatchet, allegedly taunting somebody who was trying to attack her. And I first saw the video and I had my suspicions. I'm like, I don't think this is the truth. And as it's transpired today, it turns out it wasn't the truth at all. But I'm feeling a wee bit, I feel like it's kind of bleak, right? That any argument today, you know, okay, I don't know. I'm getting in heavy and stuff, but and I don't really have an answer for this. But it seems like people are just lying and getting away with it, and it's really affecting my autism. See, seeing just people argue with absolute bad faith about things when you care about the truth. Oh my God, it's draining. Anyway, today, the Daily Mail, of all people, reported apparently the truth on this wee girl with a machete and stuff, in that it turns out it was most likely her that was in the wrong, and the person filming her was just a guy. He wasn't trying to do anything bad. He was Bulgarian, Scottish, legal citizen, trying to get to the shops. And if anybody has spent any time in a rougher part of Scotland, they would have spotted that wee girl's aggressive bamming of him up. So it's made me think about, remember a couple of streams ago, I was talking about how because they're lowering the voting age in the UK in the next general elections in like about 4 years. So they're lowering the voting age to 16. The next general elections in like 4-ish years, probably. And so I was saying, I bet there will be tons of misinformation and a propaganda campaign against very young teenagers on the internet to radicalise them. Remember I said that a couple of weeks ago? So if the next general election's in 4 years, the voting age is at 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 12-year-olds will get attacked online. This is just my hunch. I don't have any evidence for it. But I think more and more young people will be the victims of online radicalisation. And who knows what happens. Hello, Digital Falcon. Welcome in. How you doing? Who knows about it all? Who knows if I'm right or what's going on or whatever? But I want to be hyper vigilant about young people, particularly like between the ages of 10 and 14, who are maybe just beginning to like turn fashy. So that's a cool new thing that we've got to spot. So who knows? I mean, who knows why she went out with a machete and an axe? It might be from a position of fear. And so who has stoked that fear? Has it been her parents? Has it been the media? Has it been online relentless campaign to other certain groups? It's really depressing. And I normally wouldn't comment on this sort of stuff, but it's happening here. That wee girl was Scottish. And in Scotland, on the whole, we tend to be kind of progressive, and we tend to, for the most part, there's some of us are bastards, but for the most part, we tend to sort of be sound about these issues. So, cool. So I've been reading about that. That's been getting to me for the past wee while. But as it transpires, the man was completely innocent. He was trying to walk to the shops, and a big misinformation campaign by right-wing nutters. It started online. The flames were fanned by the usual suspects, Tommy Robinson and all of the Elon Musk got involved. And it's all just terrible. JB Script, how you doing? Welcome in. Thank you very much for 13 months. How's it going? How's it even going? So, right, this is where my mental head space is at starting the stream, right? And so what I would like for you to do, if you have any, is share good news, because I'm waking up, I'm reading all this horrible bad news, horrible toxic stuff about Wayne's attacking people for the colour of their skin or whatever else. And I want to know if there's any good in the world, because the good news doesn't travel. The good news doesn't travel at all. Nobody's interested on Twitter or in the news about any good news. But here, I'm in charge of this whole realm. And my good news is Bomega Man, or Bomega Man, has just subbed for 52 months. And your cat looks a bit threatening. Maybe take that to the vet. I don't think its eyes should be like that. Bomega Man, but thank you very, very much for the sub. Welcome in. How's it going? Exceldro says thumbs up for a working camera. Yes, so my camera's working again today, which is wonderful. However, I think the problem is sometimes when I go to start streaming, I'll hit go live and then realise my camera's not working. And the problem, I believe, is my capture card. I've got an Elgato something, 4 HDMI inputs. Sometimes it just doesn't work. And what do you do to make it work again? You restart the computer. But in order to restart the computer, you need to then end the stream. But if I've just went live, oh, it's hellish. So today I went to check it before I went on, because I'm a consummate professional. And it kind of worked, but it didn't fully work. So I restarted my machine. It fully works. It fully works. What else have I got to speak to you about today? I tried that Gemini Nano Banana thing last night, right? Which sounds like a type of new drug or like an ambitious sex maneuver. But it isn't that. It's a AI image generator thing that's scarily successful in generating images. So I tried it a wee bit last night just to see where we are at in the world with this sort of technology. And we can maybe play about with that today, just to see how scared we should be about images from now on. So that's maybe what we'll do today. And in addition, I'd like to maybe play some games or something. We'll see how it goes. Ross29 is in right at the start with a wee bit of good news. Hello, Ross29. Can't believe there was 28 other people before you that got the name Ross. That's a wee shame. Well, I suppose 29 if you include like Ross. There's just Ross on its own. Ross 0 might be like another. Ross29 says, I've got a long weekend and I'm going to visit pals tomorrow. That's class, Ross29, mate. How cool is that? Hello, Pursue. Welcome in. Hello, Chameleon. Chameleon says, afternoon, folks. Good news. I think art skills are improving. Started a drawing of Mysterio from Spider-Man last night. Took 2 hours to draw a hand, but didn't lose my mind doing it. Amazing, Chameleon. How good is the mindful practice of just slowly and incrementally getting better at something? Wonderful. Dcia is in. Dcia says, I've been to the fracture clinic and my broken shoulder looks like it's healing well, and I'll be doing the chicken dance again in a few weeks. Dcia, that's dynamite. Oh, I changed my microphone settings last night. Does anybody who is currently wearing headphones and usually does wearing headphones, did you win marbles once, Rudders? That's cool. Rudders, thank you very much for subbing. Any headphone users notice any difference at all, better or worse, in my voice quality when I'm doing all of this? DC, I hope your broken shoulder ends up all right. Shoulders are hellish, man. Shoulders are absolutely hellish things. All the very, very best. Chris says, my 4-year-old autistic son has just started a new nursery and settled in amazingly well so far. Fucking yes. Mad respect for the 4-year-old autistics amongst us. That's class, Chris. That's brilliant. Hello beneath the headphones. Hello to all my wee pals in chat. Carnivore says, goodish news. I mentioned yesterday, but it might have been missed. Nothing major, but getting new specs for the first time in about 6 years. Going for a totally different style. So new me. I think you did mention that yesterday. You were talking about... Weren't you talking about rectangular frames? How you usually wear rectangular frames, but now you're not? John the Human, what's happening? How you doing? Welcome in. Thanks for subbing. So Carnivore, is that... are you recycling yesterday's good news today? Because I don't know if there's rules about that, Carnivore. Carivore, welcome in, how you doing? And John the Human, Rudders, Bo Mega Man, GB Script, Digital Falcon, Frosty, M89, and Gary Black. I think Gary Black subbed when I was offline, so thanks very much for that, Gary Black. How's it all going, man? Beneath Headphones says, heard about this last night. Aye. It's just weird, isn't it? All the people getting themselves in a frenzy over this should genuinely be investigated for some form of child abuse. I don't like, on either side, people using children for point scoring. It's just really distasteful and horrible. Because this wee girl's a real person, and her face is now plastered all over the internet. People like Elon Musk are drawing attention towards her. And then you've got mad far-right hate groups that are generating AI images of her to turn her into some sort of Braveheart saint. It's weird, man. We're in a weird timeline. And I don't like it. And it's now close to home. All this shit used to be something that you would read about America. You would go on the website and you'd be like, what are the Yanks up to today? Oh, shit. Right? But now, it's like here. What are the Scottish wee lassies up to today? Oh shit. Mental, man. Mental. Kitty, explain how you doing. Are you agreeing with what I'm saying? It's just all scary and weird, man. It would just be wonderful if people just argue in good faith. But it seems like folk on certain sides of conversations don't really care about what the truth is. They just care about winning, and it doesn't matter how they do that, you know? Very weird. Base Embrace says the majority of people, and I mean in real life, not online, seem absolutely incapable of admitting wrongdoing. Aye, I think that's a psychological thing. It's probably got some sort of psychological benefit, evolutionary speaking or something, but I don't know. It's exhausting. Don't engage. It's all intended to demoralize anyone who cares about the truth. The problem is, though, I mean, I haven't engaged about this. I won't engage about anything like where there's the face of a child. Do you know what I mean? It just seems really inappropriate, right? But if somebody doesn't engage, then all the misinformation is just existing there, unchallenged, propagated by like bots and Nazis and stuff. I really wish that Alex Jones hadn't coined the term InfoWars, because it really does feel like we're in the InfoWars era, but Alex Jones is a nutter and InfoWars is, you know, Sandy Hooks and all that sort of stuff. But I can't think of a better term for it. Anyway, it's exhausting. Don't engage 100%. Jebru, how you doing? Who's this cool guy I see? The cool guy, Jebru, is you. That's right, Jeb. Today, the cool guy is you. How you doing, Jebru? Welcome in. What's happening? Carivore says, Christ, the first channel I saw with this story is called The British Stand with Union Jack flag as a person. Aye. It's all anonymous accounts where like their dog is their profile picture or Winston Churchill or a flag or something like that. Stinky, we're in a stinky existence. Roljig says, I was watching one of your VODs the other day, and whilst it was on, I signed up for an entire online Python course I saw advertised. After I'd done so, the very second, literally, that clicked the start intro button, you said, I've been using Python a lot recently. The exact second. That's class. We're Python pals, Roljig. We are Python pals. So I have used Python a wee bit recently. I'm not a programmer in that I've never been paid to code anything in my life before, right? But I've achieved different projects, personal artistic projects you could call, via code. So, but I've never been very strong at it. I've always had good ideas. I know the structure of, I know what a function or a class or a variable or whatever is. So, it's cool, man. ChatGPT Codex can do all the labour. I can do all the idea side of it. And there's never been a better time to get into coding, I think, particularly if you're a creative person. So recently I've created 2 Python apps. Well, about 3. I've been using software called Custom TK Inter. Anybody know about that? So that there is a library for Python that allows you to create a GUI, a graphical user interface, with buttons, radio buttons, drop-down lists, menus, all of that sort of stuff. So if you've created a tool in Python that's maybe a command line tool, you can then make that a graphical thing. So you can click check boxes and hit go. So I've been working on 2 separate things recently. Although, no, I didn't use Python for my PlayStation thing, but I'd quite like to document that today. I made a program for work, been doing some stuff in work. So quite often we use Adobe After Effects to populate templates. So it's the same templates every single day, but just with different information in it, like football results, or we've got a thing called like website of the day sort of thing. Well, it's not website of the day, it's just a news article, right? But it comes up on screen and disappears. All of that stuff are just Adobe After Effects templates. And it involves propagating information into the templates, rendering them out, job done. But there's many of them to do every day, alongside other work that is a bit harder to do. So I was trying to look for opportunities to expedite or reduce the labour on some of the more templated stuff that doesn't require your full brain, but just requires labour. And with Python, I've noticed that I can address something called AE render. How you doing, Stevja? Welcome in. What's even happening? What one are you? Stevja, welcome in. How's it going? Dropping in quickly to give my Prime sub and a way to post more letters. I hope you're doing great. So, with Adobe After Effects, right? Adobe After Effects is software that you use to make motion graphics and things like that. But alongside every single install of Adobe After Effects is a program called AE Render, where it's just a command line thing, and you can tell AE Render to render a project that you've saved previously, and it will just render it out as a video file without opening up After Effects. Completely headerless is a cool thing, right? So I have in Python vibe coded a tool for football results for my work, right? Because it's 2025 and we are still manually typing in, for the most part, football results on news shows. So you need to always remember, is it Johnson or Johnstone? Is it Dunfermline or Dunfermline? All that sort of stuff, right? Which isn't a big deal, but is one of a lot of laborious tasks that have to be done alongside actual design work day to day. So what I've done is created a Python application that pulls the BBC football website, where there's a JSON file with multiple fields in it telling you the current state of play of different games in different leagues that are happening today or in any other date. So I've created a Python interface with a calendar drop-down thing. There's some other settings that you don't need to know about because it's work stuff, right? But the end result is that you choose a day in my Python app using tkinter. You choose a date in the calendar, and it tells you what leagues are playing that day. Scottish Premiership, the Lowland League, and the UEFA such and such. And then you click on Scottish Premiership, and then you just hit render, and it creates a video file. So what happens behind the scenes, Salty, how you doing? Hiya, welcome in, thanks for subbing. What happens behind the scenes is it pulls the JSON for the BBC website, gives me the leagues, I choose a league, I hit render, it then takes all the information from the BBC website, parses that into a custom JSON file that then I save alongside, just all automatically, saves alongside an After Effects template file. The After Effects template file looks at the data in the JSON, and then expressions within the After Effects file adjusts the football table layout based on the information that the new custom JSON file holds. And all of this stuff, right, saves 30 minutes every single day. Bang, just one click. So I'm in a position now where I would quite like to release this to my colleagues. So there's about 10 other people in the country that do the job that I do currently. And I want them to have this tool. But the problem is signing applications. So everybody tends to use a Mac. And in order for me to give them this well, not an exe, an app executable file, I would need to sign up with an Apple developer account, which costs like £100 a year. And then on top of that, I would need to pay every time I want an app signed. So for all those reasons, I'm just sort of keeping it to myself just now. But I'm trying to show it to different people in the BBC who are maybe in a position of power to see if I can get some resources to like work on this, because I think it's dead cool. Anyway, so to cut a long story short, Python is wonderful, man. It's kind of brutal when it comes to dependencies and like versions of Python and all of that. So to get right into it properly, I would need to use virtual environments and stuff. But right now, I'm just installing all my dependencies on the computer, like just on the main OS, which means that if I want to change up what I'm doing, I'll probably just break whatever project I'm working on. So I need to get a wee bit better about knowing all of that sort of stuff. And I think the way to do it is probably doing a course. I would quite like to do a course. I think would be wonderful. So even though it looks like AI is going to take all the programming jobs and stuff like that, I think it would be quite good. Right now is a good time, I would say, to learn programming. For anybody that has got any projects that they want to make. Anyway, sorry, we're talking about multiple different things. Welcome in, everybody. How you doing? Once again, if you've got any good news, stick it in chat. But Roljuk, that sounds cool, man. Hello, Devon Inc. Welcome in. The racist asshat that called a kid a racial slur in America raised 800k from other racists. I don't even know what that story is, but it just is mental. The cat's a menace. That's brilliant. Nick Nell says, good news. Hello, Mayor returns. Nick Nell says, good news. Buying my first house. Oh, that's very growing up. Excited to paint and stop paying for a landlord, even if it's a touch terrifying. Nick Nell, that sounds brilliant. I can only imagine the relief and the lack of pressure in my chest and the just ability to relax that I would have if I owned my own house, man. I want to paint that wall. Although I can paint. How good would that be? I want to fix that window. Oh, I can because it's mine. Fix. How good would that be? Oh, Nick, no. I don't think it's something that I could ever achieve other than like a lottery win or some form of inheritance. But it's not going to happen because that's just not going to happen. Wellsy Wells, hello, welcome in. How you doing? Nick Nell, congratulations, by the way. Congratulations. Good news, Mayor Return says Nick Nell has invited me around to paint her house. Dynamite, because you can do that now because it's yours. Base Embrace says, good news, my son who just turned 2 is finally walking and there's no stopping him now. Base Embrace, is that good news? Like in the long term, that's good news, but in the short term, you now need to move things on shelves that are a wee bit higher up, don't you? Dearie me, congratulations, oh, that's a big step into it. Well, maybe not literally a big step because he's got wee tiny wee legs, but you know what I mean? That's cool. Look at all this good news. Look at us having good news. Hey, look at all of this. It's awful. I'm either walking 2 steps behind him or lying on the floor with him. Carver says, I always remember you saying this is the worst AI will ever be again, and it's very sobering. Oh, aye. I'll show you what I was messing about with last night. So last night there's a new tool called Nano Banana. Gemini. I typed in Nano Banano. So we can have a wee look at that in a bit, and that is a new tool that people are using to generate images. I have used it a wee bit last night just to see if I can fool people. And I don't think I successfully did fool anybody. But last night I posted a thing to Twitter and it's got like 22 likes. I think it's very obviously fake though. So I posted this to Twitter just to see if anybody would bite. So this here's my 1030 logo. And that's it tattooed on a chest. It's very obviously fake, right? But it looks bloody good, man. I made this in bed, just on my phone. And if it wasn't, there's something about the lighting on her face that makes it obvious that she isn't a real person. But it's a wee bit worrying, isn't it, how just accurate this is? To like the point where this wee freckle or whatever it is up here is also here if you look hard enough. Like, as somebody who works with images and digital media and gets paid to fabricate stuff like this in Photoshop, we've turned a corner, man. Like, we really have. To the point that I don't know if there will be more work for me to do visual effects and stuff. Very strange. We live in a very strange time. Things are moving really, really fast, man. So that was using Nano Banana, and we might have a wee look and see where it fails today. We could have a wee look. Jebro says you sound lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. John the Human says, good news, afternoon off to see some bands down by the seaside. That sounds brilliant. Carver says Mike sounds clear and strong. Excellent. I was noticing a wee bit of rumble previously. I can't remember what I was doing, but I was watching myself back. And everything sounded, it was like that. Everything kind of sounded as if I was in a box or something. And I was listening to B. Dolan's stream, then flicked back to mine, and then Dolan again and mine. And I was like, no, I need to fix this. So I've went in and just slightly adjusted it. But as you know, everything is a work in progress. Frog Zoe's in. Frog Zoe says, good news. I've managed to keep on top of housework for the past few months for the first time in my life. Amazing, Frog Zoe. What have your strategies been to achieve that, if you don't mind? Because that's something that I think a lot is in here have got trouble with. But that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Feels like when, and I'm not talking about you, Frog Zoe, but in general, it seems like when mental health is low, that sort of stuff is the first thing that goes. But then if you're living in an environment that hasn't been maintained and hasn't been kept up, then that makes mental health worse. And you can end up in a position where you're trying to dig yourself out of a hole and everything's overwhelming and it feels like suffocating. And it's a horrible thing because you can't do all the tidying up because your mental health is absolutely brutal. But one of the reasons why your mental health is brutal is because everything is so overwhelming and, you know, suffocating. So I get it. But that's cool. That's cool. I want a full, clear instruction manual on the steps that you took to achieve your success. Zoe says, I'm so happy I'm up the kitchen today, like properly mopped just after I ate my lunch. A few years or months ago, I'd not be able to do just a little bit and have to do the entire house at once. It would burn me out. Must be the frontal lobe developed now. I've hit 25. Whatever it is, I'm glad that it's working for you. And now it's dry, I will let my cat back into the front room. Amazing. Everybody, you need to be aware of certain floor surface cleaners and pets, because some floor and surface cleaners are bad for doggies and stuff, and they can leach into their paws. Fish Supper, what's even happening? Fish Supper, you alright? Welcome in, thank you very much for subbing. It's a big moon. That's no moon. How's it going? Where are we? Good afternoon, Bowdy. How you doing? Saul McDonald says, story there on the BBC about a reform councillor banning local press from his meetings. Where have I heard that before? Oh, Donald Trump, ain't it? He did that. You try to not all you try not to be alarmist, but fascism is here and it's normal. Like, it's just weird, isn't it? I mean, it might end up working in our favour because reform candidates and fringe extremists like Farage or BNP or UKIP or whatever tend to get a lot of press time because they say stuff that's outrageous and controversial, and then that press time gets them ultimately more support and stuff. But if he's banning local press, hopefully that will stop that weird press cycle from happening. Don't know. Everything went a bit weird as when they switched on the large hard-on collider into it. So maybe it's that. Maybe we're in the wrong timeline. Carivore says, just saw a video from an American news channel about racism in Scotland, and there were so many Scottish folk really pissed off that it was even being discussed. They were in complete denial, thinking Scotland is somehow immune to racial and ideological conflict. I mean, there is 100% racism in Scotland, definitely. Was it off the back of the wee girl with the hatchet and the machete? Because there, I think there is an example of racism in Scotland. Not just racism in Scotland, but using children, winding them up in order to potentially violently threaten just innocent folk who've got a slightly different skin colour, I think. The guy, I don't know. Anyway, mental into it. Everything's all mental. Base Embrace says, minor good news, went to IKEA and got one of those spinny things you put on your fridge shelf. Now those jars that hide at the back are easily accessible. Are you talking about a Lazy Susan? I like a Lazy Susan. What's happening there? Terrible Clunt, thanks for liking a tweet. I've bought multiple Lazy Susans over the years. You know about Lazy Susans, don't you? It's a surface that you can put a thing on. I was thinking about getting one for this telly, actually, just as I can rotate it around. But it's that heavy that I don't want to jeopardise the structural integrity of the telly. Anyway, I know a lot about Lazy Susans because of R2D2. R2D2's neck operates on a Lazy Susan mechanism. Rotational bearings. So that's cool, man. Base Embrace, that's great. Devon Inc. says, good news. Went for dinner and drinks with pals I've not seen since the end of the pandemic. Was like nothing had changed and was nothing but pure friendly joy and happy banter. That's something that I need to do, Devon Inc. There is a big group of pals that I had, and during lockdown, obviously, we stopped hanging out with each other. And after lockdown finished, we didn't really start hanging out with each other again. Like, different people's circumstances had changed and folk were, you know what I mean? Just a long time had passed. And it felt like we had all fallen out with each other, but we haven't. So I keep meaning to make like a conscious effort to get the band back together. And you've just sort of inspired me to do that. How good is that? That's brilliant. Funkyman316 says, whatever happened to that thing you were making for the escape room? The switches thing is installed and it's functional. And it's all working good. So there was another thing. So that was installed months ago. So there's an escape room called Nomad Escape, run by Yes It's Bland, who might or might not be in chat. And I created a musical switchboard thing where the answer to a puzzle is a tune that people play. And they play it on this sort of arcade button thing that I made using an Arduino. And if they get the right tune, a reply to the tune plays and a door unlocks, and it all works. It all works fantastically. And it's been running in situ for the past couple of months, uninterrupted, and it's working great as far as I know. At least I've not been contacted to fix it, so I assume it's still working great. And then there is the second part of that project that just got delayed for a wee bit. So an intercom project that I think I've got all the stuff for. I've not had my head in it for a wee while, but I want to get back and I want to finish that stage. But that wasn't necessary for the opening. That was just like a sort of a layer of polish. Do you know what I mean? But that was really cool. Blaketown says, recently finding out that Scotland is broadly progressive was news to me. I was quite amazed by the levels of open racism I saw when I lived there. Worse than I'd ever seen in England, that's for sure. Really? I think we tend to vote, you know, progressive, but racism still definitely exists here, man. A lot of people like to point the finger at colonialism and England and stuff. Historically, Scotland profited for slaves and all of that sort of stuff as well. Um, but to deny that racism exists in a place is just kind of a bit narrow-minded. You know what I mean? Definitely exists. If you noticed as well on the internet, right, amongst Americans, just in the past 6 months or so, there seems to be a lot of them who are just wanting to be more openly racist towards Indian people. Have you noticed it's now cool in certain groups of the internet to just hate Indian people? And that's terrifying, man. Like how these folk can just sort of, I don't know. Maybe it's when on Twitter when they hid the likes of people or whatever. But there's some that's ramping up, and I don't like the taste of it, man. It's not cool at all. Terrible Clunt, thanks for liking my other tweet. Scots, but especially towards Indian and Pakistani Scots, but more so Arab migrants these days. My local Asian shop gets its windows smashed about 3 or 4 times a year. Fucking hell. The thing is, so many people don't even register it as racism because it's so prevalent. They just call it antisocial behaviour. We've definitely got a problem, and the problem can't be fixed if people deny that it exists. Username, how's it going, man? Yo1030, what's poppin'? Just stuff. Just wanted to slide in and say you're literally the goat of streaming. I'm not literally, because that word literally is special, and it's reserved for when something's like literally true rather than metaphorically true. And here you're talking like, like I'm symbolically. I'm not a literal goat, but I understand what you're saying, and I want to say thank you. I'm hyped to see you totally crush it today. Like you will always bring the absolute vibes. And I know the chat is going to be going wild. Aren't you going wild, everybody in chat? I feel like I'm talking to ChatGPT here with the amount of praise I'm getting. Let's get that energy through the roof and make this stream unforgettable. No cap, you're going to slay. Wicked username, thanks very much for all the positive comments there. Suspicious. I don't have any young person patter to respond to that there. Keezy says, good news, my PC blew up last week. That's bad news. P.S. You literally went bang while I was working on artwork, and I managed to fix it myself with no IT or PC repair knowledge. Just happy my hard drive was undamaged. That is amazing, Keezies. So do you know what happened? Because it shouldn't just go bang. You would hope. Keezy's well done in fixing it. Did it fry your motherboard or anything? That's horrible. I don't think I've ever had a PC literally go bang. That's horrible. Seahood says, bring back the guy that goes, Kilmarnock 1, Wraith Rovers 0, Dunfermline 2, used to pure send me to sleep as a bairn. Seahood, I don't have any control over editorial output, but I'll put a word in. If you're into that sort of stuff for getting to sleep, I recommend the shipping forecast. It's very good. It's a very similar vibe. Get the BBC to open their pockets. No comment. Peacock says, surely BBC will have a dev account you can get a license from. You would be surprised about things. You would be surprised. A lot of stuff, a lot of sentences in that building start with the word, surely. And it's like, no. Lots of different moving components. Dockerize your containers, etc. Base Embrace, I've never really learned how to achieve a mastery over virtual environments or Docker or anything like that. I'm just like, it's a pain in the arse. It is a pain in the arse. Meant when Apple gets sued for not allowing sideloading third-party apps on devices, well now Google are going to do the same to Android. I spotted that. There's a massive clampdown. I assume that's to do with Fire TV sticks. I think. I don't know. So do you think that comment was real? The one username does not exist? Surely that was like just satirical. I'm like a horrible jaded figure, so I just assume it's banter. Anyway. As soon as you own the house, it goes from I want to fix it to I have to fix it. WeShed says you're not getting my house. I know I'm not getting your house. I was pure begging you to put me down as the pure like on the lease, because if ever you or my mammy need care, they will use your house as capital to pay for the care rather than using public money to pay for the care. So what I really wanted, because I would like to own a house at some point in my life, man. My grandpa bought his house for $5,000. Do you know what I mean? I've got fucking no chance ever. My dad in chat there, you're not getting my house. I'm like, Monty, fuck. How no, but? How no, but? Here, Dad, I bought you bungee jumping tickets. Aye, but sign this first. Could you sign this first, please? Anyway, East 55 444. Hello, Scroobius Pips. Scroobius Pips in chat. I'm a wee bit behind in chat, by the way, but you know me. This is just my vibe and what I do. Scroobius Pips in chat. Good news. Areas that have had St George's Cross flags put up on lampposts and painted on roundabouts have already seen a massive drop in house values. That's funny, isn't it? That's quite funny. How did we get here, man, doing this? Like, what have we become? Everything seems really normalised. What's this called in politics again? The Overton window or something like that? Where just you slowly, incrementally, like, keep pushing forward what's normal. And in the space of like 5 years, you look back and be like, oh my God. That's some good news. I guess. But what if the people who enjoy painting the flags paint the flags on areas? You know what I mean? Like, not everybody in that area is pro flags. We've all had neighbours that are arseholes, you know what I mean? So you might be living in an area, maybe you've bought your house, right? And there's arseholes everywhere, and now they're painting stuff on your letterbox and things, and now your house value's going down because of arseholes. Oh, it'd be horrible, man. I'm very lucky that where we live just now, I think this is the first ever place that I have ever lived where we don't have bad neighbours. The full street is quiet. I think we're the bad neighbours, which is kind of cool. But I think in every other place I've ever lived, no, minus one other place we had cool neighbours, but every other place there was a story about the neighbours, or somebody felt threatened, or we had police at the door, or, you know, somebody tried to decapitate my mum, all of that sort of stuff. And this is the first house I've ever been in where we've had good neighbours. And I tell you what, it makes like such a difference to your quality of life. Where are we? Seahood says it's such a good logo. Isn't it such a good logo? Look at this logo. 1030, 1030, 1030, and it sort of looks like me because I've got a big nose. How good is that logo though, if I do say so myself? I'm in so much debt because I went to art school to study graphic design. What have I got to achieve for that? Nothing really, except the skills that made me make this logo. How good is the 1030 logo really though? Here, see, if I was you, I would buy it on a t-shirt if and when they eventually become available. Digital Falcon, thank you very much for the hydrate, but I don't have any water on me, so I can't hydrate, so I'll just sort of swallow some saliva, right? Digital Falcon, thank you very much for the hydrate. Thank you very, very much. Oh, I feel much better. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Ah, it looks good, doesn't it? I mean, so this is, I've put no work into this. This one is off because I've asked for a selfie, but she's wearing the tattoo gloves. I've never had a tattoo. I don't think the patient, or whatever the word is, has to wear gloves, but I might be wrong there. Also, she's taken a selfie in a mirror that we have to be looking through if we are to believe that this shot here, and also that's not mirrored. Do you know what I mean? So if you really scrutinise it, you can see that it isn't real. But I was just playing about with the new Nano Banana, which, if you're into all these image synthesis tools, this one's a new thing. We've got to a new chapter of these image synthesis tools. I don't really know what I think about them, other than I owe it to my job to be very aware at how quickly this technology is progressing, which is why I've been doing these wee tests online. So we might have time today to go in and play about with it a wee bit further. Listen, by the way, who's got Amazon Prime? Fish Supper and Soti and Stevia have got Amazon Prime. Digital Falcon and Frosty M89's got Amazon Prime. Do you have Amazon Prime? Because if you do, there's a way that you can help me pay my rent, and it's called an Amazon Prime sub. And I love Amazon Prime subs. And see if you've got any, fucking geese them. Ta, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for listening to my sales pitch, which I don't do very often. But it's interesting. Saul McDonald says, it looks amazing. I had to look very close. The hair gives it away, but the details in the back are uncharacteristically solid for AI. Yes. So this new AI tool, Nano Banana, is very, very good at consistency. So it can take an image, rotate a camera round about some, and all the stuff will stay the same. We've entered a new chapter in image synthesis, and I'm a bit worried about the implications. Mental, isn't it? Absolutely wild. The even lighting matte look is a big giveaway. It totally is. I mean, if I really wanted to, I think I could go in and work on it further, but it looks like it's been professionally lit. You know what I mean? There's an edge light. There's like a 3-point lighting. This looks like a studio shot of her face. But it's mental to, like, just look at that person there. She doesn't exist. She has never existed and will never exist. But look at how convincing she is. Don't know, man. I never thought I would see this in our lifetime. And I've been using images and image tools and stuff professionally for decades. We've entered a new era, and I don't know what I feel about it, man. Frog Zoe talking about getting on top of housework and tasks and all of that. Frog Zoe says, I do the tiniest bit a day. Like today's cleaning task was mopping the floors. Also choosing cleaning items that are accessible for me. So I use a sponge mop rather than a cloth mop, as the cloth mop and bucket are too heavy for me, but I can lift the sponge mop and dunk it into the sink instead. That's class, Frog Zoe. That's brilliant. One habit that I tried to adopt ages ago, and I was doing it successfully for a bit, and then I sort of fell off, is the idea that if you're walking from one room to another, say you're putting the kettle on, right? You're in the living room, you want to put the kettle on, you have to walk to the kitchen anyway, right? So one idea that I saw that worked for me for a bit was to use a journey that you would already be making to help put a dent in the clearing up. And this might sound really obvious for a lot of people, but if I'm in the living room and I need to walk to the kitchen, I will make sure I take something from the living room to the kitchen that needs to be in the kitchen. Might be an old cup, it might be something for the bin. You understand things that need to go into kitchens. You know what I mean? Similarly, if I'm here and I need to go into the loft for an unrelated reason, I'll have a wee look about and I'll be like, you know what? This could probably go in my electronic storage box thing. So I might as well use that journey rather than have to make a separate journey just to put that away, which is maybe not going to happen. I didn't invent that. I read about it on a productivity blog or something like that years ago, and it seemed to be working for me for a bit, and then I sort of fell off. For most people, this will seem like a very obvious thing, but for me, it had to be a learned thing. So I'm always kind of tidying up, rather being in a mode of tidying up mode versus living normally mode. See if you're always kind of doing a wee bit, helps. When you're cooking, right? Instead of like You cook a thing, you wait for that to finish, then you use the dishes for something else. Clean up the chopping board when you're waiting for that to boil. You know what I mean? So you're maximizing the use of time rather than do all the cooking, but in the quiet bits you're pissing about on your phone, then after the meal do the tidying up. Instead of that, sort of clean as you go sort of vibe. And again, this might sound really obvious to a lot of folk, but for others it needs to be taught. Hello, Jack, finest son of Cambridge. How you doing? Welcome in. Aloe vera skin stuff is super toxic to dogs and pretty toxic to cats. Good to know. Good to know. What's the other thing? Oh, cool. I think I'm working tomorrow then. I think it's official. I'm working tomorrow. I've not had a confirmation, but I've just received my rota. Looks like I'm working. Xylitol. Xylitol is a sweetener, very popular in vegan and vegetarian stuff. And you get it in chewing gum as well. See, sweet things that are down as 0 calorie contain xylitol and it can be fatal for dogs. And dogs love to get into chewing gum and things like that because they're wee bastards. So watch out, man. There's a mad guy on Insta that makes homemade cleaners from strawberry tops, etc. He's great. Rachel's mum's been giving us all these homemade potions and stuff. So I wonder if she's getting it for Instagram, like things for cleaning up, like a tub of goop that you put on your joints for joint pain and stuff like that. We've got tons of different mad potions. She's right into that. But I don't know what's in any of it. Frogsley says, some days my tiny cleaning task could be literally putting dried pots away, but not washing the pots that are there. Usually the next day I'll do the dishes without even thinking because there's space to put them. Cool, man. What are strawberry tops? Like literally the sliced tops of strawberries. Peak off, we did end up in the cursed timeline, 100%. Mike Almond, you're a large hard-on collider. Dynamite. Dynamite. Think I'm working tomorrow. That's great. The company I work for do all the connections for the Large Hadron Collider. It generates terabytes of data basically every time they touch it. It's incredible how much connectivity it needs to various locations. That's class, Bowdy. That's dynamite. It was mainly about the lived experience of black people in Scotland and how naive most Scottish people are about the reality of race relations in Scotland. Did you see that on TikTok a couple of days ago? Americans found out that black people live in Scotland as well. And so there was a big thing about black Scottish people just being pure praised by American TikTokers. Did you see all of that? It was a bit weird, man. They're all like that. Right. Alright. It seemed a wee bit sort of condescending and patronising, I think, but I didn't really get right into it. But I look, Scotland has got different races in it. I had this conversation a couple of months ago. I was trying to advocate for diversity in a thing that I was working on. And I was talking to 2 other English people, and they're like, well, you know, you're in Scotland, it's not. And I'm like, look, man, Scotland has got different races in it. I didn't go over the top. By that point, I was a wee bit sort of defeated in the project. But, man, like, come here, look out the window, and you will see different people kicking about. Don't know. Seems to be like a anti-Scottish sentiment. B2 Tech, how you doing? B2 Tech, welcome in. Thank you very much for subbing. Thank you. Thank you, B2 Tech. Anyway, I'm moaning again. You know it's proper good, pals, when the time can pass and it snaps back to normal in seconds when you finally do meet up. 100%, Deverink. 100%. I'm glad you were chilling with your people. Frogzoy says, I know the pain well. I'm in a below ground flat, so most of my sights out the window are the grass embankments. They cut the embankments once a month, but it's not the whole thing. Only the flat top and bottom of it looks a bit daft. That's brutal. I've noticed Indian racism among other members of the left. Really? I wonder what prompted it. There's definitely people feel liberated to be openly racist towards Indian people, and that didn't exist in the same capacity as it currently does 6 months ago or so. Seems weird. I think there's an employment thing happening in America where certain jobs are going to international people or something like that. So there are a lot of Indian people moving to America for certain work positions. I think employers are financially incentivized to recruit international employees because they don't have to give them pensions and stuff like that. I don't know if everything that I'm saying here is true. I've barely got. I read some headlines and I'm making up the rest. So somebody correct me if this is wrong. And so I think that might have caused, because there's a problem with tech work in America just now. There's a lack of tech jobs, and all the jobs that are going, or a lot of the jobs that are going, employers are favouring international people because they don't need to treat them as well, basically. And so that's a problem, isn't it? For folk who've ended up being racist in response to this. I think that's what's going on, but honestly, fuck knows, man. But I have noticed the needle is moving, and I don't like it. Don't like it. I am well behind in the chat here, folks. So sorry for taking my time to talk to you. But you're talking to me all brilliant here, and so I want to respond to things that you're saying. Certain groups of Scottish people indentured their own countrymen, so there's no limits to where the pivot can end up. I think we all just need to never deny that racism is here, because it absolutely is. You fried your motherboard because of vaping? Jesus Christ, Graham. Fry your motherboard in a minute, pal. Wish you would, Screwbase Pip. When I was in Scotland with a friend, a group of guys tried to fight us, calling us Taigs, etc. They were from England. Also, Taig to me just means Timothy. Sorry that happened to you, Hugh TV. Certain parts of Glasgow, you will have Glaswegians calling you that. 100%, man. 100%. Scotland's shame, but that's a topic for something else, isn't it? Ray Lapton, how you doing, man? Sorry I used your actual name. My daughter got 6 A's and 2 B's in her Nat 5, so that's good. Fucking yes. Welcome in RCL Studio. I'm a wee bit behind in chat, just so you know. But that's great news. ChatGPT taught me Docker. Nice one. And your name's Matt Decker. I'm going to be inspired by Decker to learn Docker via ChatGPT. Vaping's either... I've still got a vape stick here that hasn't ran out. And I've been using it when I've been mad stressed, and it's almost ran out. I didn't buy this, it was for a project. Well, I did buy it, but I've ended up... I couldn't return it. Don't get into vaping. Roscoe got his granny's house, exactly, aye. Roscoe got his granny's house, and then a couple of years later, he is the new face of Scottish comedy. So basically, everybody should get their granny's house. They sold my granny's house. My granny died, I was like, any chance? And they're like, no. Alright. But I know how all yous have got houses, like everybody, and I don't. Aye, no, you can't. I'm like, alright, right. What if I could pay yous all up over a number of... Nah. I'm like, okay, alright. So I never got a house. But it worked out great for Roscoe. I got a dog when my granny died. I got a wee dog that eats her own shite. Roscoe got a house. But my wee dog's cool, man. She's alright. She does eat her own shite. Gary Black says, good news, we're buying our house from the landlord. Going to sign the papers in a few hours. That's amazing, Gary Black. Fucking yes. Dynamite. Roscoe struck gold, 100%, man. What a talented individual. He definitely deserves it. Is there a source to the house price stat? The fact that my grandpa bought his house for $5,000? Aye. Because that house that I was just telling you about that was sold was the same house. So they were looking at how much was originally paid for it at the start. Where are we? Get the family house into a trust ASAP. Needs 7 years to mature, so to speak. TurboClan, do you know about all of this so that I can retain the family house? Because I would like it. They've painted them all round my way, but fuck it, I'll go down as long as they're going down too. It's mental, isn't it, man? Fucking people with flags. Like, how easy is it to just manipulate folk with symbolism and iconography and the fear of others? It's dead easy. See, if I was evil, fucking hell, you could just have everybody doing your bidding. But I'm not evil, so I'm not going to. Anyway, my estate's really quiet and pretty old and white, but I've not seen any flags yet, but I'm on alert. It's maybe because they're all old, Bowdy. Don't know. Most of my previous neighbours have been absolute weirdos. I have not had good luck with neighbours, but here is brilliant for the most part. Mine is gradually getting worse and worse. More arsey neighbours moved in, stopped saying hello to each other in the street, etc. It's a bummer. It can make such a difference. It's like a bad neighbour can ruin your full life, much in the same way that a bad colleague can ruin an entire job for you. It's horrible, man. Please confirm that tattoo is AI. This one? Nah. This is real. See this person here? That is actually Saul McDonagh, who's in chat just now. Isn't it, Saul McDonagh? That's you. Who yesterday got 1030 tattooed on their chest. So thank you very much for doing that. Saul McDonagh in chat can verify. It's literally the GOAT logo. Thanks, Scroobius Pip. Where are we? Where are we? Still reckon my clean version of your logo was better, but what do I know? I mean, you are just a graphic designer that's been working for decades longer than me. No, I wanted to do a hand-rendered version. Well, we put it to the group and see what logo is better. And as you know, democracy in graphic design always leads to the correct answer, as we've seen from the recent Cracker Barrel redesign. RCL Studio logo 1030. I think your version looked a bit corporate, which nothing wrong with that, but for the context, try to find it on Twitter. Twitter's just fucked, innit? Can't find anything, man. From RCL Studio 1030. Nah, I'll get it in a bit. What about logo? Twitter's fucked. Latest. And then 1030 here. So it has to be in latest, otherwise you don't see the results. There you go. Nah, I can't see it, man. Can't see it. Anyway, we'll get to it in a bit. Oh my goodness me. Where are we? You don't get gloved when you get tattooed? Aye, cool. Nice one. Hello FK Slice, how you doing? Logical flaws aside, I've probably believed it if the subject had some other tattoos already. Aye. If she got the logo on her leg or something, aye. I didn't put too much effort into this at all. Everything else on my PC was fine, says Keezy's, whose PSU exploded with a bang recently. Keezy's says, everything else in my PC was fine. Motherboard, hard drive, so that was good. Just a strong smell of static from the PSU. I figured that was the culprit. I was working on a 3GB cover art commission in Photoshop at the time of the bang. I need to get into the habit of flattening layers occasionally. I don't think anything you can do in Photoshop would encourage your PSU to do that, other than maybe if the PSU wasn't rated at high enough wattage for the computer or something. Maybe if the wrong PSU get put in it at the start, then maybe if you were using a computationally heavy process, maybe at that point the PSU could then go, fuck this. But only if, or maybe it was under a lot of strain and was old or something. I don't know. Did you lose any work though? How did Rolling Sausage take to you generating women in bed? I don't think Rachel knows about it yet, but she'll be cool, man. I think our relationship's robust enough that Rachel doesn't feel threatened by an imaginary woman that doesn't exist. Also, I didn't request this to be on the chest of an attractive woman that doesn't exist. I just said to the prompt, take this logo, turn it into a chest tattoo. And I'll be honest, when I was originally conceiving this, I thought it would show up on like a heavily tattooed sort of nutter vibe type of figure. I just did it, and I'm not implying that people who are heavily tattooed are nutter people. Tattoos are wonderful, right? But just in my head, I was thinking for somebody to believe this, for somebody to believe that somebody in the world got my logo tattooed on them, the person receiving the tattoo probably doesn't have all their faculties if they've chosen my logo to go on them. So I was wanting the person to look, in order for it to be believable, I think if it was a different type of person rather than somebody who doesn't have any tattoos on them who looks like that. I don't think this person, if she existed, would get a tattoo of my logo on her. I don't think it would happen. But there are certain looks of people who would be more believable. You'd be like, aye, all right, aye, cool. If I wanted that to be a thing, I could put more effort into it, but I was just like farting it out. I'm bad for dishes in my office, so my personal rule is if I go downstairs, I take more dishes with me than I just brought up. Net negative. That's a good shout, Seahood. That's a good shout. That's brilliant. Never leave a room empty-handed. It works. Aye, totally, man. I do something similar with laundry. Every time I leave a room, I throw stuff in the laundry bag. Then once it's full, I drag it into the kitchen whilst I'm making a cuppa. Amazing. Aye, paracetamol's hypertoxic to cats. I was having a conversation about this to my vet as well. You can give it ibuprofen, I think. Every time I need to double check. Every single time. Limbo what's happening? Welcome in. Just started getting ads and thought, what? Anyway, here's my Prime sub. Limbo thank you very much for giving us your Prime sub. I love Prime subs. It allows me to pay my rent. So thank you very much. It was hard for me to just do a little a day because I grew up in with my nana who would wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. to do an entire deep clean, like the full 9 yards. So my brain was conditioned to think it had to be done like that. Different people work differently. I know somebody who cleans as therapy, who just gets a massive therapeutic benefit by doing deep cleans like that. I'm usually overwhelmed with a big list of tasks that I need to do, always, constantly, and I'm usually just clutching at stuff as it's slipping through my fingers. That's the modality that I use often. Terrible Clunch says, my wife is either in job mode or no jobs mode, continually cleaning, tidying, or dozing. I'm kind of the same, and be good to not have a binary switch like that, for it to just be like an adjustable dibber switch. So you can kind of be like a wee bit all the time. But it's easier said than done. Frogsley says, she would do that deep clean every day, so I've lost entire weekends to thinking I'd do the pots, then suddenly I'm 2 days deep into a deep clean of my house, spent loads of money on cleaning supplies I didn't need, and I'd not eaten properly or slept super late. I get like that with the garden a wee bit. There's a big hedge, and I didn't stream for about 3 or 4 days 3 weeks ago because I spent 3 or 4 days just tackling this hedge. Had to go to B&Q, get a big hedge. I want rid of it, man. It's all thorny and I hate it, but I'm a tenant and it's my landlord's hedge. It's horrible to work on. You're just getting cuts and scratches everywhere. I hate it. And it requires like days of my life. So I think maybe if I just trim it occasionally, and I don't have the money to like get a gardener in and do. Imagine I was like, aye, so I spoke to my gardener today. Anyway, so I'm a bit like that with some other tasks. Funk Albert says, I came in at the end of the last bit and it reminded me of a thing. I've been playing Pikmin 4 on the Switch with my son over the summer holidays, and it introduced me to this concept of dandori. Is that anything to do with dando? Which is the Japanese concept to describe what you were talking about with the cooking or cleaning or organising thing. Oh, interesting. I wonder if Dando knows about that. Because her name is in the thing. Dandori. Dandori is a Japanese term that means preparation or procedure for carrying out a plan, which is used in the Pikmin series to describe the art of strategically organising tasks and efficiently executing a plan to maximise productivity. The concept gained prominence in Pikmin 4, where it's a core tenet of the Rescue Corps and features in a dedicated Dandori challenges and the Dandori battles that test a player's planning and multitasking skills. Well, there you go. Need to send that to Dando. How you doing, Funko? Welcome in. What's happening? B2 Tech, what's happening? Up, down, left, Ryan, how you doing? I don't like it when people treat normal, everyday people like some sort of fantasy race or something. I don't know what we were talking about because I'm well behind in chat, but I agree with that sentiment. I started seeing the shift when some telly channel released a documentary on how hard it is for girls or women in India. Scenes of 40 grown men standing and staring a woman being interviewed, but it doesn't mean you can be racist towards Indians. There's a weird thing happening just now where people feel liberated to just be openly racist towards Indians, and I don't know where it's coming from. That's at the H-1B in America. H-1B thing is getting a lot of attention in the US, and Indians are the biggest cohort of H-1B visa holders. Corporations are exploiting loopholes, so they can hire on H-1B for lower wages, and the people in those jobs are utterly beholden to their employer to maintain their visa status. So you can't quit your job, otherwise you get chucked back home. You don't have like a pension or anything like that, and you'll be asked to work ridiculous hours, and if you aren't working those hours, there's a weird thing, right? But the people who are in those jobs aren't the folk to blame, it's the corporations or whatever legislation have created this H-1B thing are to blame. You know what I mean? ICU says racists are currently feeling bolder and safer, which is not what should be happening. I totally agree. Where's my B. Dolan hat? I've got a B. Dolan hat that'll solve this problem, but I seem to have lost it. Ah, well. What I'll do instead, though, is just look at this, because it'll calm me down. Look. See this? Look at that. That's cool, isn't it? Oh, this is changing depending on... You see that? You see that changing when I hit this? Maybe I shouldn't have these next to CRT screens. Maybe I shouldn't have these next to CRT screens. I'll turn them off. Ba 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 ba. That's weird how this is now sound controlled, isn't it? Ba 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 ba. Look at this one as well. Boop boop boop. And so on. And so on. Right, I'll turn them both off because I've already had a house fire this week. I don't want another one. Oh my goodness me. My goodness me. I cleaned out my brother's PS4 for him because it was getting so hot the top case melted. Every vent blocked with vape gunk. That's ridiculous. I've heard a lot of people that repair computers refuse to work on them if it comes from a smoker household because there's a layer of tar and nicotine that just covers things. I've never been on the inside of a machine that's been like that, but that's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. If your name is on it for 7 years, you don't have to pay the inheritance tax. That's what I was trying to say to my parents, that if they put my name on the house, I won't need to pay inheritance tax, and also that the house can't then be taken off them to be paid for care. But it's really hard. They spoke to somebody else who wasn't me, who said, no, don't do that. And they believed them. And so it looks like I'm going to be fucked, I think. I don't think I will ever have a house. Chicken Chaser says, I'm looking to buy a house because rent is so expensive. In order to buy a house, you need to get a mortgage. And because I've been working freelance for quite a while, I can't get a mortgage. It's brutal. When people start treating racism and bigotry as just another opinion to be debated instead of toxic shit that it is when racists felt more bold in vocalising what they believe. I think a lot of it is intentionally being fueled and encouraged. It's fucking mess, man. Steve says, we had a religious cult move in beside us and they would chant late night through to the middle of the night. Steve, if you don't mind me asking, was that in Scotland? Because I've heard of some religious cults now just appearing all over Scotland. There's two separate ones. There's one in Glasgow, and they all wear robes. And then there's another one a wee bit further north. I can't remember where, and people are allegedly like living in the wilderness. There's like a king who's on a throne and all of that. What's happened to Scotland, man? Didn't it used to be like this, really? We've had nutters, we've had mental cunts for all of eternity, but we didn't have this sort of level of stuff. When did I get my 50 grand? It's in the post, Saul McDonough, it's in the post. Anyway, have you ever tried N8N for automation? I recommend it. Do you know, Matt Decker, you're the fourth person that's asked me that, and I haven't. I've looked at it, and I think this is now the tipping point where I need to actually spend time downloading it and learning it. I've seen YouTube videos of it, or I've seen Twitter posts about it, but I haven't experimented with it myself. But that's now the tipping point of like, right, okay, I need to download it. I need to ask about it. Think you deleted your tweets? Well, right. Thanks once again for taking a stab at it. I like mine though. I like this. Is this the final version of the logo? Probably not. But I think it's cool. Check your DMs. Oh shit. Oh shit. Where are we? Boom. Shakalaka. Am I even signed in? So everybody, we're going to have a democratic group crit, right? My Twitter DMs or my Twitch DMs. Oh, old Twitter DMs. Aye. It's a wee bit different and better than what I remember, I'll be honest with you. But, right, I think I still maybe prefer mine. Where are we? Oh, Twitter as a website is thoroughly broken. Right, so I'll save this to here. Everybody, we're having a crit session for the 1030 logo. So the original 1030 logo, as it exists, looks like this, right? And then the new one, and we'll be comparing like for like. How do you do this in OBS? And the new one looks like this. Where are we? Saved it to downloads. How terrible are computers? Save image as. Where's that saving to? Desktop, and it's called that. Ah, right, it's because Twitter didn't save the file extension. Okay. Desktop. Edition. Okay. Oh, 2 seconds, folks. I need to answer the phone. It's about work. Pardon? What was that?
Mr. Fortune.
Mr. Fortune?
Mr. Fortune David.
Hello?
Is it?
Who is this?
So this is Brett, and I'm speaking from Loans to Grow. How are you today?
Oh, I'd love a loan. Do you have a loan? I'm a wee bit short on cash just now, so if you've got any money that I could borrow... Bullshit. It wasn't work. It wasn't work. I thought we could have a wee bit of fun there, but... Oh, a nice one. I've got Dropbox links in chat. Sorry, I forgot where we were. It's because I'm so behind in chat. Aye. So that's like the same one as this, isn't it? It is. Right. So what we can do to compare it side by side is do this, and then maybe what we'll do is invert. Can you invert though in OBS? You would need to take a user defined shader, then I would need to apply a LUT. How do you invert in OBS? There should be an easy way of doing this. Invert. Yep. So I can do that with a user defined shader. Okie dokie. And then if I add another one, which is a Luma key, and I can key out the black, there you go. And then lastly, what I need to do is make sure this is scaling correctly as well. Scaling, scale filtering, Lancos, and that makes the pixels look good. And so we will compare these. And again, to compare apples to oranges, I don't want this to be bright white, because nothing should really be bright white on broadcast. This isn't broadcast. But so what we will do there is then go to color correction, and then I'll just reduce the opacity a wee bit. So it looks kind of like that. So there they are side by side. And with a logo, it's always worth looking at it small to see how it reads. I'll put them both side by side, right? And everybody, I'd agree. I think the gap between the one, like the ear bit on mine, see this gap here, it's maybe a bit too small. I like that there's a bigger gap here. But I think there's more character and expression in mine than that one. But I mean, graphic design, there is no real true answer often with things. If you ask 100 graphic designers to respond to this, you'll get 100 different answers into it. But I'll stick it up there, and yous can tell me what yous think. But this version was made by RCL Studio, and that is the current incarnation as of the one that I've been putting together. But it's like, it's not finished. Funkle says, I've just DM'd you absolute proof of my latest tattoo. Is this in Discord, Funkle? Let's open up Discord. What the fuck is this? Where are we? Aye, that Zen browser isn't doing it for me, folks. It's quite annoying. I really want to like it, but it's not really quite there. Okay, so Funkle Albert has sent me through. Oh my god. So Funkle has just got absolute undeniable proof that a 1030 tattoo has been sent. And this here is Funkle Albert's undeniable proof. Look at this, everybody. You ready? That's amazing. That's amazing. Anybody else got a 1030 tattoo on them? Do you know, right, this is a true story. There literally is 3 other guys kicking about Glasgow just now with 1030 tattooed on them. Legitimately tattooed on them. Not this logo, but the number 1030. Because the name 1030 came from when I was in art school. Me, 3 other guys were making work together under the name 1030 because it was a hotel room number that we stayed in London. It was around about the same time as Lord of the Rings. And do you remember all the cast members of Lord of the Rings got a logo tattooed on them to like bring them together, right? So somebody in the 1030 group thought, oh, we should all get 1030 tattoos. And everyone was like, aye, man, we'll do that. And I never got one, because fuck that, man. I thought back then, chances of us hanging out in the future are very, very slim. And sure enough, I was right. We don't hang out in the future. This is now the future. And now the rest of them don't use the name 1030 anymore. It's only me that uses the name 1030. And they've all got 1030 tattooed on them. Ha ha. You got my name tattooed on you, mate? Andy Robertson, have you? Roddy McNeil? Wonderful people, wonderful people. I really would like to catch up with them, but they've got my username tattooed on their bodies. Trillo Neutrino says, are tattoos not totally normal in Scotland? They seem pretty standard. Aye. Lots of people get tattooed here all the time. What we're talking about is somebody getting my logo tattooed on them. That would be exceptional. By multiple excellent tattoo artists in Scotland. Lots of tattoo conventions, all of that sort of stuff. There's 3 tattoo studios in my small town here. One of them, unfortunately, has got an apostrophe between the O and the S of tattoos, and I wouldn't trust the person that put that apostrophe there to permanently scar my body. But it's a story for a different time. I used to pop a lot of paracetamol back in the day, helped me to unwind. Now I'm weaned off it. It could be detrimental to your digestive system. Aye, I don't think taking a lot of it is good for you, Jack, finest son of Cambridge. Thins your blood, isn't it? And mixing it with things is bad and stuff. Does Dando really mean tiny? Oh my god. I don't think that's why Dando is called Dando. It's because her name's Danielle. But even Dando's granny called her Dando. Anyway, today's stream has been Dando heavy. Anyway. Magnetic interference, do you think, Chameleon? With the thing? It's weird. Repasting a PS4 is well worth it. Do you want to hear something about me? I have never used a PS4. Never played a PS4. Never modified one, opened it up. Never been in the same room as a PS4. By the time PS4 was on the scene, I was heavy into PC gaming. I've just never used a PS4. You would kick us out? I wouldn't kick you out, wee shed. If you put my name on your lease, I'm no kicking you out. Why would you think I would kick you out your own house? I got an old Sega Mark III console from Japan, and that was from a cigarette enjoyer, and it was grim. Big soaking and oven cleaner sorted it. Jesus Christ, Bowdy. Inheritance tax on the property is only houses in the millions, isn't it? No, J. McGurk, there's different loopholes that are stopping. Basically, see if you're born after like 1983, you're kind of fucked, right? If you're born before 1983, chances are your life is a wee bit better than otherwise, and you just don't care or understand or appreciate the amount of options and opportunities that simply don't exist to the other group. And house ownership is one of them. So there are different mechanisms that prevent people from inheriting their parents' house nowadays. And a big part of that is the house being used as capital if somebody has to get taken into care. But that care could be spent, could be paid for in other ways, you know what I mean? Anyway. Trusts are for IHT. Turboclan, I need to speak to you privately about this because I don't even know what IHT means. I've maybe said all this stuff wrong. Threshold's 325 grand. Interesting. Over 325 grand. Right. I don't think my parents' house is 325 grand. The last from Texas who appeared in the woods in Scotland. Aye, what was she doing there, Les Dennis? There's these 3 Texans that are just in the woods, and it's shenanigans because all their clothes are they don't look as if they're camping. They all look as if they're just out a nice bath. It's weird. Chanting late at night, and there was all these lights, screams, and demonic roars when it seemed fine. Listen, that's all we need, man, is cults. For cults coming back. So the house price definitely isn't 325 grand. Cost of living is so bad, no one is paying into a pension, so the upcoming pension crisis is going to be fun. I'm not paying into a pension. I don't have a pension. I need to fix that as well. Get your parents to a decent solicitor for their wills and power of attorney, along with estate advice. I can't really see, because I am my parents' son, anytime I'm giving them any advice or asking them to do anything, I'm not. They'll just be like, "All right, aye." Like they don't take me seriously about stuff, um, and that's its own separate thing. I had to do that dance a couple of times, and having the paperwork saved me so much heartache. I don't ever want to be in that position as well. There's the entire estate value, not just the house. There isn't really an estate, Blaketown. There's the house and the car, and that's it. Trusts are around 3 to 5 grand to set up. I see. Nice one, cheers, Ray. The only thing really is it has to be done in plenty of time. About 3 years ago, when all of this was in the news and stuff, saying that you should do this, I was speaking to my parents and they spoke to, I can't remember who it was, just some stranger, a pal, like somebody used to work with or something, and her niece said not to do it. So they believed that person. How often do you crit yourself? Not as much as Roscoe, Scroobius Pip. Anyway. I thought that was the angel, but it turns out it was just a wrong number. Why do these places never have good audio? I don't know. It sounded like a call centre, so I'd imagine there's lots of people shouting in the background. Where are we? Testicular about this one? I agree. Can I show you a logo? So I know the person that designed this logo. There's a big multinational corporation called Babcock, right? And I think they do bad shit to do with weapons and stuff. Babcock, right? So not only is the name cock in the name, right? But I shit you not, man, this is their logo. Company called Babcock, and they've chosen that as their logo. And the person who designed that and the studio that came from affectionately call it the Babcock ball bag because it is just a giant scrot. Anyway, not going to speak too much about that as to not incriminate a studio who made that about 15 years ago. But that's the Babcock ball bag. Wee bit of insider designer information for you there. Where are we? I like the first better, gives me 90s Rugrat font vibes. I like the current logo more. The current one looks like it's been hand rendered, so it looks like a bit of a signature, which I think conceptually ties into the themes of like, this is my identity. Like 1030 is my name, and it looks like me at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So I think a hand rendered imperfect version helps communicate that sort of personal identity vibe or something like that. I think that we're getting this. Whereas this looks maybe a bit more corporate. You know, if it was a studio, if it was 1030 studio or something like that, maybe this would be a wee bit better. But, you know, different approaches. I'd get a chest tattoo of the left one. You already have ICU, and I've got photos of it on my Twitter. Ray says, tough cried off to hang myself. Well, look, it just shows you, right? I know my audience. And remember a year ago, I was like, thank you very, very much. Because it is good getting somebody else's insight, right? See, when you're working as a designer, especially alone, you miss having crit sessions and having people talk about your work, definitely. So when I was working on this for on and off for about a year probably, in isolation, and then to have another designer who I know and like and respect give another response is always useful. It's always useful. The problem with this one, right, if I'm going to be fair, is somebody has interpreted it as an open mouth. Can you kind of see? So where it's supposed to be is a nose and a chin, and the mouth would be like here, but it's closed. But somebody's interpreted it as like a Muppet, open mouth, like that. And ever since somebody pointed that out, I can't not see it. It looks a bit like a fish or something. So if I was to take another stab at it, it would be to kind of get it away from there. But at the end of the day, also there is some not quite right about this eye. Just the weight of it looks a bit too heavy or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much done, man. It's pretty much done. Also, I'm kind of used to this to the point that if I change it, it just looks wrong, doesn't it? I have a temporary tattoo marker somewhere. They last for up to a month when dried. My God. Big Scary Deer, not Andy Robertson, the Scotland left back and captain, no. But every time I see the left back and captain's name, I'm like, oh, right, no, it isn't. Twitch on the left, LLC on the right. Will I do that? Cool. So we've got options for viewers and we've got options for corporate sponsors who want to have me sell their energy drinks. I thought my hand would go over that. Why isn't it? What if I do that? Aye, there we go. There we go. Where are we? Greengrocers apostrophe. Aye, you don't want that in a tattoo artist's. I know someone whose surname is Tattoo, so he could have tattoos in his shop name. That's pretty cool. That would be just irritating. Even Dando's Grando called her Dando. It's good work, mate. That's good work. It's been a very long time since I last got a tattoo. I feel like I should think about a new one at some point. Is it on here? There's a tattoo that I've wanted for a long time, man. It's a scan from a magician book. And I haven't got it because when I was much younger, I wanted the Star Wars Imperial Cog insignia tattooed like on, is it your nape, you call it, at the base of your spine? And I never got it done, and I'm glad I never got it done because right now, if I had that, I wouldn't want it. But there's a illustration on an ancient magician book. The book's about 150 years old, and I scanned it. I can't show it to you, but I scanned it ages ago. It's on my laptop, and I've always wanted it as a tattoo. But in order to have it as a tattoo, I think it would need to be quite big because it's kind of detailed. And then you can't just have one. It's like a mad crazed wizard guy. He's got like a wizard hat on and a big beard. And he's got like a staff. And it's a vintage illustration. It looks cool as fuck, man. So I've always wanted that. But then you can't just have one. I'd need different things. So then I was thinking like I could have a tattoo of all the dogs I've ever lived with. Cause I really respect animals and dogs are cool, man. But then what if I get a tattoo of a deceased dog and it just doesn't look right? Because memorial tattoos, I've seen examples of bad memorial tattoos online, and when it's bad, it's really, really bad. And what you would need to do is find somebody who specialises exclusively in animal portraiture and all of that sort of stuff. And being somebody who cares a lot about images, I'm very particular, as demonstrated when we were critting these, very, very, very particular about certain things, which means I would need to find the absolute right person, and all of that sort of stuff would become a full other job. Not to mention, to get it done properly, you're talking tons of cash for portraiture to get done right, especially animal portraiture. Because these people are very talented and deserve, when you're the best of the best, you deserve to be paid and it be booked out for years in advance and all that sort of stuff. So for all those reasons, I've never got a tattoo, but I might. I've always wanted to get this sort of covered up. I've got stretch marks up here for when I used to be a big fat guy. And I've got stretch marks just kind of here at this crease on my bicep. You won't be able to see them. But I always thought if I was getting anything tattooed, it would kind of cover this, like a mad Cody Rhodes shoulder thing or something. Fuck knows. Scroobius Pip says, my nan's house wasn't anywhere near $1 million and the inheritance tax was a larger cut than any of my aunts and uncles got. Some bullshit. There's some shenanigans going on, man. Isn't there something about rich people buying farms that avoids the tax? I don't really know about all of that. Pure Toka touring cars. What do you call a guy, man? Big old guy face. Jeremy Clarkson. Why did I say Toka touring cars when I was trying to think of the word Jeremy Clarkson? I don't know about the ins and outs and all that. Anytime I see him, I just sort of check out and stop reading. I mentally block him like ad block, just like that and that. So I don't know about all the farm stuff. Honestly, probably going to start a fund for my child, so when they're of age, I can give them a deposit. How else can you get a house without parents these days? You can't. You just can't. Simply can't. Spend a couple of thousand to maybe save a couple of 100,000 in the future. We had talks with a lawyer and a financial advisor. Well, my financial advisor recommended that I get put on the lease. Babcock are all over the nuclear subbase, 100%. Scottish cryptid, the Babcock ball bag. I maybe shouldn't have told you about the Babcock ball bag. That was confidential information that I learned over a decade ago. Deary me. I blame Roscoe for that, looking a bit like a Muppet. Was it Roscoe that mentioned that? Somebody mentioned that it looks like like Kermit the Frog. Ray says, love your work, mate. Very jealous if you have in the bollocks to follow your heart and do what you want to do. Thanks very much, Ray. Listen, this isn't a choice, me being here doing this. This is because I've failed at multiple other things, or they've burnt down, or fucking something dreadful's happened, which is why I've ended up here. But thank you very much for saying so, man. Mutual respect. It does look like Brian. It does, Roscoe's creation. Deary me. Dando's Grando would yell her down for Scrando. I think we need to give Dando a voice message because I've been speaking about her for quite a bit. And it would be unfair to talk about somebody this much on stream without offering them a right to reply. Because I'm a professional and I work in news and I know about things like right to reply. Hello, how you doing? I thought I would send you a message and I've just realised that you have sent me other messages that I've fucking dinged. Anyway, I'm live on stream right now and your name came up because in Pikmin, right, there's a concept called like what's it called again? Talking to my stream, right? And your name is like part of this concept. It's in like Pikmin 4, right? And it's about like a pure Japanese concept of planning and tidying up. But then somebody else on stream, what's the actual word, everybody? Somebody else on stream says that it can mean small as well. So there you go. Everybody was thinking about you. Everybody says hello and all of that on the stream. Anyway, hope you're doing good, and I will catch you after. Dandori, it's called. So Google Dando Ridandori, which is a pure word in the Pikmin universe. Did you know that? I never knew that. Anyway, catch you after. Funkle Albert says, hiya, Dando, haha. Might get a wee response in a wee minute for your Dando there. Anyway, he's all doing good. He's all doing good. I'm doing all right. That's it. Struck 3:30. And I'm thinking about maybe playing a wee video game, maybe. We'll play a wee video game, perhaps, perchance, perhaps. Because I've not played a game for ages, man. I considered getting the Tyrell Corporation logo in the same place when I was younger. Kind of like a factory press A for replicant. But I read that getting your neck tattooed is sore as fuck and can be dangerous, so I didn't do it. I am glad I don't have a Star Wars tattoo. I don't think I would ever get a tattoo of a franchise or a band or something else that I didn't have ownership over. Like Radiohead, for example. I used to be well into Radiohead, would be a massive fan. Don't think I would have ever have got a Radiohead tattoo, right? But I might have back when I was 16 or 17. But now if I had that Radiohead tattoo, it would be a problem because my beliefs when it comes to genocide don't really align with their beliefs anymore. So I would feel compelled to cover it up or something, and then it becomes like a pure strategic problem solving method. So it is what it is. So I'm glad I never got a Radiohead tattoo. I'm glad I never got a Star Wars tattoo. Good tattoos are never cheap, and cheap tattoos are never good, 100%. I'm part of a subreddit called, like, Bad Tattoos. Is it Bad Tattoos? Something like that? Shitty tattoos. Or there's bad tattoos. And then there's tattoo advice as well as a subreddit. Tattoo cover-ups and stuff as well. Oh my god. See, because I've seen this, you need to see it as well. Just without comment, check this out. So that's your Reddit there. The fuck is this? Live. I am who I am. Live. Live your true. I mean, there's a lot going on there, isn't there? Hiya, Dando, alright? Thank you for thinking of me, guys. How's it going? Everybody was all Danduri. So check it out, it's Danduri. Dandori. Like this. Danduri is a Japanese term which means preparation or procedure for carrying out a plan. Did you know that, Dando? Danduri. It's a cross between Dando and Tandoori, which means we need to prepare or create a procedure for carrying out a plan, which is go for a tandoori with Dando. That's obviously what that means, isn't it? Anyway. But welcome in, folks. How's it going? I got my bike theory test tomorrow, so I can upgrade from my 125cc hairdryer to a 600cc Death Rocket. That's class, Les Dennis. I was looking at Baggio 1030 talk about his electric bikes and stuff like that, and I quite fancy one of them. That looks brilliant. Me watching this with stupid sexy Flanders tattooed on my leg, that's a cool thing, man. That's brilliant. Chameleon says, watching this and all my tattoos are pop culture things I like. See, that's what I was going to do, but then most of the things I like have sort of soured. Do you know most bike accidents happen in spring? Just making sure you're less likely to be a statistic. Yes. So, we know about this in news. Everybody puts their bike away for the winter, and there is the first good weather weekend in spring. And if you're a motorbike person, you'll know about this already. But a lot of folk lose their life because they're a bit rusty because they haven't been out for a season. The bike maybe hasn't been maintained. I don't know enough about bikes. I don't think you need to maintain it that much. But beware, spring is prime for motorcycle fatalities. Might also be other drivers for a season haven't been that used to checking for motorbikes or something like that. Don't know what factors, but there is a statistic that is true that we know about in news as well, because every year it comes back up. So, ride safe, motorbike-ians. Here from the DM, I am impressed. Hello, everyone. It's good, isn't it, Dando? Dando, are you into Peak? I've been playing Peak. It's dead good. Say her name and she appears. Her name's fucking Dando. Her name's fucking Dando. Dando. I don't have any other lyrics for that, but it's a good song, man. Why's he not got the world title yet, man? Anyway. That'll be 3 people who've got the world title that are Scottish, if you include Rowdy Roddy Piper. Never heard of it, love it. It's cool, isn't it, Dando? It's cool, mate. Anyway. Bananas toast sandwich with a little honey is amazing. I had that yesterday, but without the honey. It was really good. Wet leaves in autumn, probably worse than snow. I agree. As a cyclist, the only time I've ever came off my bike was with wet leaves. So I have got a tendon that's no longer attached to the bone and makes my wrist do this. See that? That's not supposed to do that. And that's because I fell off my bike, landed on my hand, and that was because of wet leaves. Also got a shoulder problem and a hip problem because of that as well. Wet leaves, everybody. You don't think. I was cycling down, was a bit late, right? I was supposed to meet Limmy years ago to go on a big bike ride, and I woke up late because I wasn't feeling well. And so I fucking sprinted because he was waiting on me. And he can get quite crabby, so I'm kidding on. So he was waiting on me. So I was sprinting down, fell on the slippy leaves, landed, but just immediately get back up, fucking sprinting down because I'm well late, right? And we had a full day of cycling. So I didn't really register because I landed on like my tailbone sort of thing. Didn't really register how fucked up I was until the next day I woke up and just couldn't feel my dick or balls. All numb. I was like, oh no, man, like wake up, Jesus Christ. Yo! I was terrified, man. I was nearly greeting because that's important. That's important. It's one of the best things about life sometimes. Couldn't feel it. I was like, for fuck's sake. And in a few hours, all the sensation came back and everything was fine again. But I've still got just long form injuries for that. Everything's fine down there. Everything's in perfect working order. Just for anybody interested, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But wet leaves, everybody. Wet leaves, telling you. Black ice in spring as well relaxes Max. It was brutal. If Oscar the Grouch turns out to be a badger, I'd be gutted. I have him on my shin. Amazing. As Dioge. I don't know who that is. I should know who that is. Remember to add air to your tyres? Yes, 100%. Yep. I had to first aid a guy who came off a motorbike last week. He was okay. Luckily, he just had a very gnarly knee. Rachel stumbled across a collision that had happened between a bike and a car. Wee young guy in a bike and this older woman in a car that was like, I'm not to blame. Like, she was just worried about all of that. Meanwhile, the guy was like not badly injured. Anyway, Rachel had to sort of mediate all of that, get the guy's dad phoned and everything. Happens all the time, man. All the time. We need to see each other very soon. Coming out for my birthday? I think so. You told me a date, but I might be working on that date, and that's why I didn't get back to you. And I meant to get back to you after checking the date, and then loads of other life stuff happened. So I never did that. But I'm going to. But I would really like to, if I'm not working 100%. Rachel's up for it as well. Now I know why trains delayed due to wet leaves on the track. Aye, serious is a big thing. My two falls have been on gravel and an oily bus stop markings. Jeez, oh. They don't want to sprain their wrists. Aye, listen, wrist stuff's bad, man. And I can't use a barbell to like in a certain way because this wrist is just totally fucked up. Anyway. One of the best things about life for about 5 minutes at a time. About 3.5 minutes, depending on who you are. 3 3/4 minutes. I mind the first time I woke up with a dead arm and started screaming the house down and my mum rushed in and my arm flopping about crying. Aye. My mate's mum back in the day fell asleep like this and woke up with a dead arm and looked down like that at somebody else's hand, or what she thought was somebody else's hand on her shoulder. Just like that. And he came into school and told everybody. Imagine waking up and just think there's a severed hand on your shoulder. That's hilarious. It's sore sometimes when you've got pins and needles. I remember I was sitting on a train cross-legged, so my right leg was on my left knee, and I was sitting for a bit, and I didn't realise that was my stop. And I was like, oh, fuck. Because the doors had been open for like a second or so. I realised it was my stop. I'm sitting kind of near the door, so I just quickly got up, but my legs buckled underneath me because I was sitting cross-legged and I had a dead leg and I didn't realise. So I got up, immediately fucking smacked the floor, and because there was still like, I needed to get off, I had to just army crawl. off the train in front of everybody. Didn't look back, man. I didn't dare look back and see them looking at me. But I got off the train, totally sober. Fucking, I don't like public transport, man. Soti says, I got hit by a car a year ago and found out I have a birth defect of the sebellium. What's the sebellium? Is it this bit? Sebellium. Alright, this bit. That's important. Jeez, oh. Motor coordination, balance, and posture. Interesting. It works by detecting the difference between intended and actual movements and correcting errors to ensure smooth, coordinated actions. Interesting. Sebellium. Cerebellum. Cerebrum. Cerebellum. Cerebrum. Cool. There you go. Hello, Hammy. Welcome in. What's even happening? Elmo turned out to be a bad one. Elmo didn't turn out to be a bad one. Elmo's still alright. He just got his account hacked a couple of times. Elmo's alright, man. I'll defend Elmo. It's a Saturday at 7. Cool. So if I'm working, chances are I will, worst case scenario, I'll be finished at like 7:30 or something. Amazing. That's going to be class. I just had a car accident 3 hours ago, says Neville. Everybody in both parties are fine, but cars are both ready for the bin. And we've got the stream on, so it's alright. Jesus Christ, Neville. Just when we're talking about accidents and stuff. Good grief. Hope everybody's doing alright. Or well, you said they are, but you know what I mean. Hello, Carla. How are you? Welcome in. What's happening? WeShed says, what I hate is folks that will spend hundreds on bikes but not pay £10 on a light. Aye. I don't know. I've got great lights for my bike. I think most folk that I know have got good lights for the bikes. Fractured my scaphoid coming off the bike 3 years ago and it's still not right. Aye, scaphoid. Is that in your shoulders? Scaphoid. It turns out I don't know my anatomy. Oh, is it this bit? Brutal, man. There's like about 100 different bones just here, aren't there? And they're all shite, man. Fragile and rubbish. Scraped all the flesh off my right and dominant hand falling down a brick wall in my childhood. We've now just got to like, what are your injuries in chat? And it's cool, man. It's good content. Now occasionally my pinky and ring finger and half of my palm go numb from it. That's brutal. My shoulder's fucked because I sort of tackled a door when I was younger. Never shoulder barge a door. Never ever do it. What you need to do is kick through the door. Do a big solid kick right next to the handle. Never under any circumstances try and shoulder barge the door because you'll end up just fucking everything up. It's not a good strategy. So there's a wee PSA, as I think the Americans call it. And so because of that, sometimes I get a wee bit of numbness here. Brutal though, isn't it? Brutal. Danda says, that is so embarrassing, man. I'd actually have walked away for you. Aye, on the train? Aye. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. There were like young folk there as well. Like high school age people that would rip the cunt. You know what I mean? Like wee vicious bastards were there who must have seen it. I went for a ciggy after giving blood. Fastest and biggest whitey I've ever chucked. I can imagine, man. Jesus Christ. Nice one, Dando. I'm well into it. It's no this Saturday, though. In fact, we shouldn't talk about Saturdays in terms of this Saturday, because that's got us into bother before, hasn't it? Sarah, like Michael's Sarah. Sarah Bellum. Cheers. And that's here or here. I also scraped a bunch of flesh off my arm as well. Somehow it only left me with a faint bruise on my elbow. I hate getting a horrific injury, but there's not really much to show for it. That's brutal, isn't it? Speak for yourself, weak boy. I know. Broke my right foot lengthways, standing barefoot on a twig. Foot just snapped like a ceramic tile. Fuck's sake. Was the twig unharmed? I like that you were standing on a twig and you were looking for a metaphor for like to snap like a, and you came up with ceramic tile rather than a twig. My left shoulder is pretty fucked because at the age of 10 I was thrown over a washing line by my older brother and it ruined my rotator cuff. Rotator cuff injuries are brutal. There's a guy in work right now who's got a rotator cuff injury and he was doing exercises that involve, and I won't do it, but see like this movement, but that at sort of that angle, and then going backwards and forwards at that angle, like this gesture at that angle. So I walked into the room and the guy's fucking standing there with like a very intentional pose like that. I'm like, what are you doing, man? He's like, all right, aye. He just didn't realise that his gesture could be interpreted as, a mad fascist salute. By rotator cuffs. So then we started talking about rotator cuffs and stuff. I don't think it will ever heal. See, if you wreck your rotator cuff, unless you get mad stem cell wrestler surgery, it's just going to be fucked forever, isn't it? Unless you're a heavy cunt like me, my neighbour's front door buckled like cardboard and I didn't even get a run up because it's a few steps. I was a heavy cunt at the time. I think I was maybe about 18 stone at the time, I think. In fact, no, I don't know. But I was a bit heavier when I was younger. Fell headfirst into a log with a rusty nail sticking out of it, impaled myself through the top lip and fucked my front teeth. My tash covers the hair lip looking scar. Fuck me, that's brutal, man. That's hard. Twig was totally fine. Know that thing where you're supposed to score a line in the tile and snap it? Fuck's sake. The same organ that affects people with cerebral palsy, the cerebellum. I suppose because that's to do with coordination and movement and stuff. That's interesting, isn't it? Any video people in? What's the QuickTime code for MP4s? I knew it was, are you thinking H.264 or H.265? Frogzoe, H.264 is the standard. H.265 is like a slightly newer version. But H.264 is what you're probably thinking of. My rotator cuff is fucked and having to do those exercises. Some laugh doing them by the window. I wouldn't, Eddie. Resistance band workouts will sort rotator cuff issues after a while. Generally, Bentley at the beginning. I've been doing resistance band stuff. Been grabbing the band and like going up like this, like that, and down. Then putting it on a thing and like going that way, then putting it on a thing over here and going that way, and then I've got a big sheet of them, and it's sort of improved, but brutal, man, absolutely brutal. It has fixed itself enough though that I can adopt a just grab onto a barbell. Like, see right now, if I push this far back like that, it'll do me in. But if I grab onto a barbell, it's just fixed enough to allow me that sort of range of mobility. So I need to go back into lifting weight, man. I say back into it. I've never really been into it. Where are we? When I do the exercise, I do both arms as to not do a specific gesture with one arm. Eyes for the best, isn't it? Taking glucosamine again, supposed to be really good for the ligaments and tendons. Bodybuilder advice to try it. I was taking glucosamine for a bit. Who sent me a message? Was it on Discord or something just last night about glucosamine? I was taking it for a bit, bought tons, found the benefit of it. Definitely, it's to do with your joint ligaments, connective tissues, and everything else. And I thought it was great. And then I stopped taking it, and I'm sore again. I've completely forgot about it. I've been going to the gym a lot because I have 1 month of doing nothing class. I'm trying to get Rachel into barbell stuff. Creatine, everybody. I'm telling you, compound lifts, squats, deadlifts, bench presses. Take creatine. Between 5 and 10 milligrams of creatine every day. It's also very good for your brain. Creatine, folks. I want a creatine sponsorship, and I could be pure peddling supplements to you. Remember when vitamin D was good? Vitamin D is still good. Add to the weird medical conditions, both me and my sister have had a hair follicle that decided it wanted to be a bone, and have had clear hollow tubes removed for the skin, essentially a clear protobone with no marrow. That's fucking... Never heard of that before, Hammy. That's interesting. Did you get to keep it? Blaketown says, I joined the gym. Tomorrow will be my first time going to a gym in like 5 years. I'm crippled with anxiety. Amazing, Blaketown. Well, not with the anxiety. Do you know what helps anxiety? Working out. And it looks like you're going to, yeah, it looks like you're going to do that. I think that's wonderful. I wouldn't be intimidated by anybody else in the gym. Like if you go into the gym and there's somebody over there and they're all pure like, right? And they look as if they go to a gym. They do look as if they go to a gym because they're in a gym. But for the most part, most people in a gym are just concerned about themselves, innit? And they're filled with anxiety regardless to how they look about how other people perceive them and everything. Because at the end of the day, we're all just wee puddings, aren't we? Every one of us, man, we're wee puddings. We're trying to get through life and we're trying to make the best decisions based on stuff that is in front of us. Dando, I probably was replying to you. I don't know. I couldn't say. Where are we? Creatine gave me a migraine that put me in hospital. Fucking hell. However, Bowdy, correct me if I'm wrong. You've got a history of bad migraines, don't you? So there we go. Not for everybody. Also, some people are just non-responders to creatine as well. Supplements. Can't we all just buy the generic stuff down the chemist? Also, hello. Spoggers, hiya, how's it going? Welcome in. Creatine, you just buy creatine monohydrate. You don't need expensive stuff. It all works. It's all the same. Just buy the cheapest version you can get. And if you respond, I'm quite into like getting maximum gains for minimum input on stuff. I don't want to be pure optimally perfect on certain things because that's a lot of work. Terrible Clint, thank you very much for gifting us up to Dando. After Dando pure heavy hinted for a sub there. I spotted that myself. Pure heavy hinted. Terrible Clint, thank you very, very much for gifting us up to Dando. So that's 2 bubble blasts there. It was one for Dando, one for Terrible Clint. But aye, so watch out if you're migraine prone, watch out for creatine and all that sort of stuff. Oh aye, you're supposed to not mix caffeine and creatine as well, because that can negate the effects of creatine. We didn't get to keep it, mine was a tiny, her was like a walnut in size. Fucking hell. It might have been useful. What happened there? My full screen went whoop. And I'm hoping my screen did it, because if it didn't, I'm having a wee episode. I think it was just my OBS or something resized the windows. Something's not right. Has that been up for too long? Something's not right. Maybe that's crashed or something. Ah well, Terrible Clint, you might get screen burn of your personal profile picture on my CRT monitor. But if you got to keep one of the wee hollow tube things, that could have been cool. You could have used it as like a quill or a pen or something. Right, where are we? But everybody, if you think you might benefit from it, getting creatine. Why is that stuck there? Terrible Clint, you've broke my setup, Terrible Clint. Could somebody do us a favour? Just one of you unfollow and then refollow. Terrible Clint says sorry. I don't ever do it again, please, sir. Just unfollow and refollow. Just one of yous to see if this clears. Loads of yous did it. I just said one. 3 yous have done it. So I think this might be crashed then. Fuck knows. I'll fix it. Terrible Clint, thank you very, very much for gifting us up to Dando. Where are we? Just remember, although you feel like everyone is watching you, they're not, unless you're doing something utterly weird. Aye. And if you're in a gym as well, and you need help or whatever, you just ask somebody. Chances are everybody's all just in the same setup. Creatine can dehydrate you if you don't gulp plenty of water and drink coffee at the same part of the day. Don't drink coffee at the same part of the day is what I've heard. Avoid coffee at the same time as consuming creatine. See if you're an older person If you're like in your 60s or 70s or 80s or older people, I don't need to give you numbers, take creatine every single day between 5 and 10 milligrams, and there is a clinical benefit on retaining bone density, retaining muscle mass, and it's got a cognitive benefit as well. Turns out, for the price that it is, everybody, I think, providing you respond to it and providing you're not allergic to it or whatever, should take creatine. Doesn't feel like drugs or anything like that. It's just a pure neutral thing. I would give it to my granny. Base Embrace says, people at the gym are more scared of you than you are of them. 100%. I think, see, if you're intimidated at the gym and you're feeling a wee bit anxious, right, I think the one strategy is to just go in, right, and find the biggest person you can see, most muscular, tough person, and just go up and leather them, man. Just back of the head. Fucking, right? Just to assert dominance and show who's boss, right? And see, from that point on, everybody will just treat you sound. Comedian says, do you know what helps losing weight? Not drinking loads of fizzy juice. Cut out about a month ago and I'm down like 4.5 kilograms. 100%. 100%. I don't think it's healthy for you, but I switched to Diet Coke with no calories, and that's been a big part in me losing weight as well. By protobone, I think the proper term is collagen scaffold. Protobone and collagen scaffold both sound like wee devices that are in a Hideo Kojima game, don't they? Please deliver the protobone collagen scaffold to the engineer in the next 20 minutes, or you'll get a void out. Creatine can help with grey matter too. Aye, everything that I've been reading seems like it's really good. Creatine, everybody. The stream has been brought to you by creatine. Bowdy says, I get cluster migraines. I have had a stroke and meningitis, so I might be an edge case. Maybe. I just scoop 5 milligrams into the gub and wash it down. I don't do that, but I mean, it doesn't taste of anything, so might as well. I put it in my water first thing in the morning, mix it up with some water and just tan it, and it means that I'm taking water in the morning as well. Pudman says, I get hemiplegic migraines, lose motor function on my left side. Had one at work and missed shifted on a roundabout trying to drive home in time. Fucking hell, Pudmund. That's brutal. Dan says, don't start that. We all saw the hint. We all did, Dando. Oh, everybody, I'm in ads. I don't know. If only there was a way I didn't get to see these ads. Oh, no. Don't worry. I'll do the same in yours if you stream again, Dando. I'll be like, oh, somebody gives a gift sub. Oh, no. Is your wee CRT supposed to be going mental? It's not supposed to be, but it is. What I need to do is just some percussive maintenance. 2 seconds. There's a wee bit at the back, and if I just hit it just right, it'll fix it. Two minutes. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'll have a look at it later. I'm not too fussed. Oh, dearie me. Dearie me. I got a numb face and puke most of the time with migraines. I used to make me greet when I was younger because I knew it was coming and I'd get pure freaked out. That's brutal. I think I've only had a migraine maybe once or twice. You got a wee stutter as well on when that weird thing happened. Some weird happened. I think just my OBS changed size or something. I've only had a migraine once or twice in my life. Sorry, Frogzoe, your follow age is now reset. Motilium helps for sickness. Triptans help for the migraine if you can spot it early enough. Aye, 4.5 kilograms in a month is quite a lot, isn't it? What is it you're supposed to lose? Is it £2 a week? Is a healthy type of weight loss? Is it something like that? Look it up, man. Don't take life advice from me. I don't have a good memory for this sort of stuff. But if your intention is to lose weight, aim for, I think the value is about £2 a week. Because if you lose over that, chances are you're losing a lot of muscle mass and bone density as well. But it varies for people, man. It varies for different people. Creatine and collagen. Do you know, I've not got any collagen, but that's my next step as well. Carla into the creatine. And ketamine. Oh. What was it I found? Speaking of ketamine. I found some video games for the ZX Spectrum called... Aye, that's it. There's a game for the ZX Spectrum called Mountains of Ket. Look at this. It's a real game, and it's called Mountains of Ket, which reminds me of like 2004 when I used to tan tons of ket in my mate's dad's house in Coatbridge. Mountains of Ket. But I just found that yesterday. The name of it made me chuckle. Hello, Cater Cakes. How you doing? Welcome in. What's even happening? Raw Dog, you're dry creatine? No, mate. I'm going to mix it in. Deary me. Right, where are we? The fuck? Neville, how you doing, Neville? Is that that's the follows coming through now? So there was a wee hiccup, and for whatever reason the follows are now coming through. So I wonder if there was an extended... Do you know what I think there is? I think there's a countdown timer. Aye, that'll be Hugh TV now. I think there is a problem on the gift subs. I'll write this down. Sort gift sub timer. So I think when Terrible Clint did the gift sub, I think it started a timer, and maybe there's an extra 0 added to that timer or something like that. And that's why there was like a blockage in the other stuff coming through. Deary me. Never been a fizzy juice drinker though. You were literally sponsored by Iron Brew. You liar. Like cans of Coke and that. I never used to... Well, I was right into Iron Brew when I was a wee guy. Just drunk it like water, right? When I was a child, I used to have tea in my bottle with sugar in it. I'd be like, tea in it with my bottle, and they'd put sugar in it, and I got right into sugar. So, growing up, I would just drink tons of Iron Brew like it was water. Then I went off everything and just moved to water when I was trying to improve my life. And then just a couple of years ago, I got into Diet Coke, and it's good for a wee treat. See, when you've given up everything else, like chocolate, everything, a wee Diet Coke, also known as fridge cigarettes. But I don't want to promote or fund the Coca-Cola company because I think they're evil bastards. And even though it's 0 calories, I don't think it's in any way good for you. It surely has to be a negative health-wise. It has to be. But for the meantime, I've been taking wee Diet Cokes because I'm currently in a weight loss phase, and anything that can just make it easier will help. So I've been drinking Diet Cokes. I don't like the taste of Diet Iron Brew. I'd rather have no Iron Brew than Diet Iron Brew. Where are we? £2 a week is the upper limit. Right, cool. Ket is not the drug for me, says Carla. I did most of my Ket circa 2004. And strangely, unlike any other drug that I've done, every time that I've taken Ket, which I don't recommend, by the way, I'm not encouraging it or promoting or endorsing it, but every time I took it was a wee bit different from any other time that I took it, to the point that I couldn't even describe what it feels like was just radically different every single time. So it's always just been a big question mark for me. Did it like a handful of times, maybe 10 times or something. No regrets, nothing bad happened. But it's always just been a bit like, what even is this? I remember just staring into a light bulb for quite a bit. And then I thought, maybe there's better ways that I could be spending my prime years. New season of South Park's been pretty good. Saw the first episode, Les Dennis. I think I'm going to binge the rest with Rachel. I have spells of taking my college in the morning, then I forget for 3 months. I'm like that way, all the things that I need to do. Everything. I haven't heard of heart issues with creatine. I've only heard wonderful things with creatine. How's about microdosing ketamine? Interesting. Hello, Care Cakes. Welcome in. What's even happening? Keezy's is like ZX Spectrum. I really would like to find, right? So we were just talking about Mountains of Ket, which is an amusingly named ZX Spectrum game. However, is it worth me talking about this just now? There's a game for the ZX Spectrum called Jack the Ripper, and I really, really want to find a copy of this. So Jack the Ripper for the ZX Spectrum is interesting for multiple reasons, and I think we're going to play it on stream, right? So this is what the cover looks like for Jack the Ripper. This was an audio cassette that was made. The game looks like this, right? The game's looks like this on a ZX Spectrum, and it is the first ever game to receive an 18 certificate, meaning you legally need to be 18 years old to purchase the game, right? Which is a cool wee fact, but that's not the most interesting fact about Jack the Ripper. Why did that do that? This website's weird. I'll try to just zoom in. That's not the most interesting fact. The most interesting fact is this. St. Bride's. Do you know about this? St. Bride's. St. Bride's was a spanking cult in Donegal in Ireland that was filled with like middle class English women. And it was controversial because there were multiple reports of abuse in this spanking cult. There's a theory that it was actually a front for the CIA in order to keep tabs on the IRA because it was very performative and over the top and stuff like that. But it was a cult and you could go and live with them. And the whole vibe with St. Bride's was they didn't use any electricity. They were kind of like the Amish. And yet, at the same time, they also managed to develop multiple ZX Spectrum games. Blind Boy did a podcast on it that started me researching quite a bit on this spanking cult. And it's not a fun spanking cult. There was lots of abuse and stuff in it. And also they happened to make ZX Spectrum games, even though they claimed to not use any electricity. And one of the Spectrum games that they made was Jack the Ripper, which it received an 18 rating. And so for this reason, I need to play this game. We need to go through it and we need to investigate. So I've already done a fair bit of research on this. That means that if eventually on stream I do get round to this, I've got lots of cool things to tell you that I'm maybe not going to tell you just now because we might save it and do a big stream on it and I will play the game. I don't think the game will be fun, but I want to do a wee bit of investigative journalism here or something because there's something weird happening. So it's the Silver Sisterhood as well, and St. Bride's are the same sort of thing. Silver Sisterhood, St. Bride's, and there were two cults. Oh, cool. So somebody's thingied it, but it was a spanking cult. So there's somebody being spanked by the head person. I forget her name, and they all dressed as if it was the past. In Donegal, they all none of them came from Ireland, but they owned this house in Donegal, which looked like that. That was the Silver Sisterhood house. And at night time, people would hear screams and shrieks and stuff coming for the house. It was a spanking cult. Anytime they lit in cameras, it all just looked like this. They were all like living without any light bulbs or anything. And yet at the same time, for some fucking reason, they happened to release Jack the Ripper on Sinclair ZX Spectrum. So I want to get to the bottom of this, man, and maybe some point in the next couple of weeks, we will do that live on stream. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Dando says, enough, I used to have tea in my sippy cup too. Did you have sugar in it though? Sugar is the thing that I was getting you into. I developed a sweet tooth. Now 10:30 wears a nappy as his bladder is knackered for the mountains of Kent. You wear a nappy? Dearie me. How's it going, Kate Cakes? Welcome in, what's even happening? But does anybody know about Silver Sisterhood and all that sort of stuff? It's weird, isn't it? I could never finish a can of juice when I was a wee guy. I'd just be tanning cans of juice all the time, man. If you take vitamin D3, combine it with K2 as well, which negates the calcification of something or something like that. Peacock says, I just stopped putting sweetener in my tea one day and never looked back. I was the same with sugar. I used to put sugar in my tea, would have 2 sugars in my tea. Stopped doing it, took about 10 days to get used to it, and haven't looked back. Just a tiny wee thing that you can use to live longer, because you will live longer if you just take care of yourself in it. Les Dennis says, I'm a black coffee guy and apple and blackcurrant squash kind of guy. Gets me through the week. Do you know what? I respect that. I respect that you know what you're into. Thurglant says, Diet Coke is not a treat, it's foul stuff. It can apparently wreck your gut microbiome and it's just bad for you. But better than cigarettes, isn't it? Don't folk get hooked on Diet Coke? I think that's maybe what's happened to me. Up, down, left, round says, I'm utterly addicted to fizzy drinks. ICU says, do you not prefer the zero variant to the diet? I do. Do you know, I don't know, ICU. I'll need to do a taste test. The sweeteners in Diet Coke still cause an insulin response. I see, Carivore. That's maybe just what I'm into, is like just a wee jolt of something. I should probably quash my Diet Coke intake, but it's the only thing keeping me going now. But that'll be the next thing. Until I'm pure stoically living like a mad monk. Got to weigh up the benefits of weight loss versus any negatives of the zero drinks. Totally. I have heard that it's not good for you. I'm not recommending people use it. Diet Dr. Pepper is surprisingly good. That's my go-to now. Never been into Dr. Pepper myself. I saw back in the day, remember Iron Brew changed their sugar content? I saw Cool Jinzo's mum caught him because he was in the kitchen pouring himself a new recipe, reduced sugar Iron Brew, and he just took a teaspoon and put 2 sugars, just like you would with a cup of tea, and mixed it in. And for some reason, the thought of that is fucking horrific. But the thought of just putting 2 sugars in your tea is absolutely fine and expected and normalised, and you know what I mean? You wouldn't think of it in a heartbeat. But there's some really rank about watching Jinzo put spoonfuls of sugar into just a wee cup of Iron Brew. That was like, oh no, man. It's weird, isn't it? Like, he was doing it for the banter. Jinzo, Jinzo. Oft. If you're wonderful things about something that happens to be a product, you need to ask, why am I not hearing? Well, creatine isn't one, it's not like one vendor. Do you know? Creatine's just a thing and multiple people sell it. It's just like a substance. But have a wee look, see if you're into it. Let me check my archives of Specky games. Dynamite Bowdy. I'd love Jack the Ripper. I mean, I could just download a ROM and play it, but I'd quite like a physical copy of it because I've done a lot of research into this. Yes, Keezy's 100%. So it's a spanking cult, but it wasn't even a spanking cult because I'm up for, like, if folk are into spanking or BDSM or whatever, That's their business, and as long as people are practicing it healthily and nobody's being exploited and everybody's consensual and stuff like that, that's all cool, man. Right? In order to destigmatize stuff for a healthier future and a healthier world, we need to be cool about fringe sex things, right? So if there's a spanking, loads of women that are into it, fucking power to them. But it wasn't cool, man. It was like folk were being exploited, and it was quite harrowing. So there's a big question mark over it all, and they also made this game at the same time. Weird, isn't it, man? Aye. So ROMs of it exist, definitely. ROMs of it exist. There's a C64 version of it too. Always wanted it as a kid. Class, man. Can we not? The family of the victims want people to move on. The family of the victims of what? I can't give a duck. This thing? I mean, there wasn't anybody killed or anything like that. It was like in the 80s. Folk have moved on. 100%. We're not doing like a true crime thing or anything like that. It's not as if. Are you talking about the families of the victims of Jack the Ripper? We watched a documentary on here about that a while back. Aye, that's right, Blake Town, 100%. I remember you talking about this. It's mental, man. Or was it the podcast? I don't know about this. I'm sure it was here. I think I started talking about it after Blind Boy was talking about it. They made another game where you play a schoolgirl going to the St. Bride's school. Fucking hell. Maybe we'll play that. But we need to do an investigation as to who this person is. Somebody tracked her down. She's living in America just now and won't speak about the spanking cult. Fun spanking sounds harmless. It does, Terrible Clan. It does. But there is harm in it, I believe. Maybe the game is cursed or haunted. Well, I did a wee bit of writing, right? I wrote a lot of fiction round about this game with an idea of sort of bringing it to the fringe to do some sort of magic show. And then a series of problems happened in my life that just made me stop thinking about it. But I've done loads of work on this and it's still just sitting right there. It might be good for like a Halloween stream or something. So I can at least use the work. Defo watched the documentary last year, right, cool. I worked in an internet cafe and there was a weird old guy who was like an admin for a weird spanking website. He used to tell us about how bad corporal punishment was back in the day with a big smile on his face. Listen, man, I'm glad people are into what they're into, but as long as it's all above board and all that sort of stuff. Aye, the same house was used by another screaming cult, like years before. It's just weird, man. Not sugar until I was a bit older, but I had half a teaspoon. Aye, there you go. We just knew them as the Screamers in Ireland. But they're all English, weren't they? And they all came over. None of them were like Irish, but just for whatever reason they picked Donegal to live in. There was speculation that it might be front for somebody to monitor IRA activity, which was definitely happening elsewhere in the area. But they were doing it just via like weird fucking. But I don't know if there's any substance to that. But it's interesting stuff, man. What the fuck? 70s and 80s were a weird time, weren't they? Lots of sugar in my sippy cup and teas, lots of milk. Aye. The sugar stuff got so bad, the church I went to held a shaming during mass to get me off the stuff. Fucking hell. I was like 8, haven't had sugar in my tea since then. A shaming? My God. Don't know who needs to hear this, right? But see, the concept of sin doesn't exist, it's made up. Just it's made up. See the whole jar and they put dirt in the jar? It's all just made up. It doesn't exist, it's fine. You don't need to worry about it, it's all made up. Terrible Clint says, I've recently gone to 2 sugars on my tea. Bit sweet at first, but I got used to it. Nice one. I like your ambition there. Brady says, Coke Zero's alright, Diet Coke's humming. Interesting. Kombucha. Now, I'm into that. I'm into trying that. Coke were big supporters of the IDF. Fucking brilliant, man. Excellent. Brilliant. I need to reconsider stuff. I think deep down I maybe knew that, but just refused to address it. Dr. Pepper, never get any Dr. Pepper myself. Same thing happened with Rubicon, says Pudmont, when the sugar tax came in. They had to redo all the recipes, and overnight they all tasted shit. Aye, same thing happened with Iron Brew. We had a big batch of Iron Brew that we kept and then started selling to folk under the Two Stripe brand from... So I can show you this. A guy, there we go. Guy that I run Two Stripe with met a guy off Gumtree, like a drug deal, and bought pallets of original recipe Iron Brew back in the day. But all of that is now expired. 974 retweets, Jesus Christ, man, look at that. Remember when Twitter used to actually be good? 974 retweets. My God. My God. Them were the days. My dad puts sugar in tomato sandwiches. That's interesting. That's interesting. I've tried to clean your mic about 3 times now. Oh, is my mic a bit too... I tried to clean it before, but all the stuff ended up just sort of getting baked into it. I think I need a new mic cone. Wait a minute, there's one offensive bit here. Can't really see it here, but I can see it there. Oh no, it's on my monitor. Haha. I might clean my mic as a treat for you. I might clean my mic later on. Off stream. Where are we? Recreational chastisement. Found an online emulator that has Jack the Ripper. Nice one, Hugh TV. I want to play it on stream, definitely. It's really easy to work out whether something is haunted or not. It's always not, says Hammy. Well, you say that, but at the end of the day, you just don't know. Donegal and West Cork are catnip for eccentric English people. It's weird, isn't it? Like multiple times in the same house. There's something fishy going on with that whole thing, and I don't quite know what it is. It wasn't that rough as it sounds. It was just embarrassing. We did a bi-weekly public confession, and my nana confessed my sugar addiction on my behalf. She grassed you in. Nobody likes a grass. And wasn't it your nana that got you into it in the first place? Anyway. If you need help making a text adventure for anything, give us a shout. Made one for the Specky years ago based on the Wicker Man. Turned the Get Troll Falconhoof sketch into a mini text adventure as well. That's cool, man. What engine would you use for that? Keezy's back in the day, just with basic. I did something. It wasn't even a text adventure. It was just like 3 stages, but just in basic of like, what is your name? You type in the name. Hello, name. What is your do you know what I mean? That sort of stuff. But it was when I was a child. Hello, yes, it's bland. Would genuinely take out a loan to buy old recipe Lucozade if I had to. I miss it so bad. We were talking about Nomad Escape earlier on. I was wondering if you were in. Nomad Escape, everybody in Glasgow, if you're into your escape rooms and all that. Yes, it's bland in chat. Runs it. I heartily recommend it. Can you get original recipe Lucozade internationally? Like if you buy Mexican Lucozade and get it imported or something like that? I remember when I was ill the last time, I just wanted Lucozade, and I got Lucozade and it didn't work, and it's because it didn't have all the goodness in it because they took it out because of woke or something. Whatever. I switched to Pepsi, then realised they're not much better than Coke in that respect. Same with HP and Dell. 2 cheeks of the same arse, I guess, innit? Any original cans of Lilt going? I think Lilt and Fanta are also baddies as well, aren't they? Love the glass bottle Iron Brew 1901 stuff. Got about 50 grams of sugar in a 50ml bottle or something daft. Anyone remember how good Lucozade was when it came in glass bottles? Totsia, yes, it's bland, is very much supporting you there. They still make original recipe in New Zealand. Yes, man, import for New Zealand. We've got you a solution. Dynamite. There you go. Woke killed glucose. 100% it did. Fishing 88. Bowdy says regular PSA. If you missed the taste of before pop, get down your local Asian and Middle Eastern food shop and buy their pop, as there is no sweetener in those. Really, Bowdy? That's class, man. I think all this time, remember there was a wee glitch in my stream because of the gift subs? All that time it's been recording. So that's maybe why my computer's been sort of playing up as well a wee bit. That's good to know. That's good to know. Well, listen, folks, listen. I've got some stuff to do before Rachel comes in. I want to go up the loft and I want to clear. We had a fire in the loft kind of recently. It's not a big one, but it was a bit scary. And I still haven't got everything back up to the level that it was before the fire. So what I'm going to do is love you and leave you. But hey, listen,
Energy.
I'm going to take you over to one of the best folk on the platform, one of the best people to ever have done it. It's only bloody Jivers, right? We're going to go over, we're going to read Jivers, and it's very important to give Jivers a big 10:30 welcome. I'm trying to just figure out how to raid, man. This has been a while. We're going to all say hello to Jivers, who's a wonderful human being. And I just want to say, listen, everybody, thank you very much for coming in. Maybe on later tonight, but I'm working tomorrow, so I'm not going to be on tomorrow in the afternoon, right? Working tomorrow. I might, depending on when I get my break, I might just do a wee walk or something like that. But listen, thanks very much for coming in. Going to do some stuff, maybe on tonight, maybe no, maybe on tomorrow afternoon, maybe no. But I'll be on at some point tomorrow night or throughout the weekend, and we can maybe investigate that spanking cult. It's not as titillating as it sounds. It's a wee bit depressing, actually. Anyway, listen, keep it real, take it easy. Doing both those things are very important. Take creatine, reduce your sugar intake, all right? And Mountains of Ket. Before I go, I'd like to show you the magic trick. Here, everybody, my name's James Houston and Houston's Boostin. Thank you very much for your eyeballs today. Without further ado, let's go over to Jivers.